Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the United Center in Chicago for the final day and the final game of the Big Ten tournament in 2019. My name is Nick Hornberg alongside Daniel Thompson. Lucas Vargas and Nate Sorensen will join us later on and will carry the second half for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan men's basketball. Daniel, here it is. Big Ten tournament championship game, Michigan versus Michigan State.
Part 3. It's for all the marbles. Of course, these two teams met in the tournament last year. Then fifth-seeded Michigan won their third game of the tournament, knocking off Michigan State in the semifinal. Big game from John Teske when he was still a backup in that one, scoring 15 points off the bench as Mo Wagner was held scoreless in the first half.
Yes,
it'll be an exciting matchup. I mean, these schools have a lot of history. They know each other well. I mean, WCBN, our crew, as the Michigan State team ran by us here in the bowels of the United Center, one of their players, Shannon, go blue at us, seeing us. I mean, these two schools know each other very well, recognized the colors of our WCBN pullovers and everything. Everyone knows whose side they're on in this one. It is going to be an electric atmosphere here in the United Center. Can't quite tell which fan base is better represented. It is St. Patrick's Day, so there might be some neutral fans wearing green anyway. But both schools pretty close to Chicago. East Lansing about 45 minutes closer. I wonder how much that will impact it. And both schools, of course, have a large alumni base in Chicago.
Yes, and for each team, it's the opportunity to hold a third banner in as many years. Michigan State actually 3-2. Michigan, having won 2 straight Big Ten tournaments, has an opportunity to win a third consecutive Big Ten tournament. And Michigan State, having won the Big Ten regular season title last season as well as the Big Ten regular season title this season, have an opportunity to add a tournament banner to that collection as Coach Tom Izzo, now in his 24th season in East Lansing, one of the best college basketball coaches in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, it's as John Beilein defended early in the season, this is debatably the premier matchup in college basketball, the premier rivalry. Really only Duke and North Carolina contested. I mean, right now those teams are now higher ranked than they were to start the season when Michigan and Michigan State were both higher ranked. But, I mean, Duke, UNC, Michigan, Michigan State, those are the two best rivalries to watch in college basketball. On Friday night, we got the part 3 of Duke, North Carolina. UNC was 2-0 in that rivalry before Duke got the best of them finally in the ACC tournament. Now maybe it's the script will be flipped here. The Wolverines 0-2 against Michigan State this season after having won 3 straight going into the first matchup on February 24th in Chrysler Center. Now they are going to try to make this 1-2 and win the one that would count for the most. Also, the stakes here are potentially a 1 seed as Tennessee fell to the hands of Auburn earlier today. Tennessee frequently mocked by basically everyone to be a 1 seed going into this morning. It will be interesting. I think Michigan State, if they win, I would expect them to become the 1 seed. Should Michigan win, unless it's in dominating fashion, I would still guess they would be the 2 seed, but I think the door is open for them to capture a 1 seed if they win tonight.
Yes, of course, Michigan last season won both games against Michigan State, the first one being in the regular season, the second one being in the Big Ten tournament semifinals. Michigan winning that game in the tournament by double digits. Michigan State winning both regular season games this season, one in Ann Arbor and one in East Lansing. Now they have an opportunity on a neutral court and what really looks like a truly neutral court. As you said, a lot of blue, a lot of green here in Chicago at the United Center for the Big Ten tournament final.
I would imagine anyone listening at home probably heard those chants. In the past 2 minutes we've heard there was first go green, go white, followed by a let's go blue chant. Both fan bases are here. They're ready to be raucous. It's going to be a great time for anyone here in Chicago. It should be an electric environment, even if you're listening from however many miles away here on WCBN. Commercial-free broadcast of the Big Ten tournament.
And both teams, suffice to say, are on fire coming into this last game. Michigan, a pair of 20-plus point victories over Iowa and Minnesota in the tournament. Michigan State, an easy win over Ohio State that was easier than the 7-point score differential would suggest, as well as a comfortable win against Wisconsin yesterday in the semifinal. State also having a couple hours more rest as they played first. And neither team, any surprises in the starting lineups, just playing their lineups that they've played all tournament long. Michigan, Xavier Simpson, Jordan Poole, Charles Matthews, Ignas Brazdeikis, and John Teske. Michigan State, Cassius Winston, Matt McQuaid, Aaron Henry, Xavier Tillman, and Kenny Goins. And Michigan State, oddly enough, this will be the first game between Michigan and Michigan State this season where Nick Ward is playing for the Spartans. Of course, recovering from a broken hand for each of the first 2 games.
And still wearing a support brace on that hand. That'll certainly be a big part of it. Xavier Tillman has become the starter at that position for Michigan State, but Nick Ward, of course, one of their most important bench players on a very deep Michigan State squad. And we'll see how much the fatigue could possibly come in. It did not look like it bothered Michigan at all last night, given that they've played they've been the last team to play in both days that they've played in this tournament. Now, they've mitigated that effect by the fact that they've cleared the entire bench. Everyone who was healthy and ready to go in both games was on the court. Several walk-ons, former team managers like C.J. Baird were able to play in the first 2 games of this tournament. So they're well rested for a team that's played 2 games in the past 48 hours.
Yes, and also arguably the 2 best point guards in the conference going head-to-head once again between Cassius Winston, Xavier Simpson. Daniel, safe to say Xavier Simpson will be on both of our Big Ten All-Tournament team ballots. And I know Cassius Winston, I can't speak for you, I know Cassius Winston will be on mine as well.
Absolutely. I don't know if they're going to divide him point guard, power forward, everything, enumerate every position, but the way most basketball ballots go is front court, back court, pick a number of each. So, and if I get to pick 2 front court players, those are the first 2 on my ballot. And we were both thrilled to be able to have a say here in this voting. It will be, and that's, I guess, been a big joy of being able to watch this whole tournament, catching every game over the past 3 days. We've gotten to really see all the best Big Ten teams in action. And I look forward to maybe a half that can give me a better idea of who to fill out for all-tournament team and for the most outstanding player, which we both get a vote in.
Yes, of course, and another Michigan player who will absolutely be on my all-tournament ballot, and considering how this game goes, might get my vote for most outstanding player of the tournament. Isaiah Livers scored 13 points 2 nights ago against Iowa, 6 for 10 shooting from the field. Last night, hit ignition, 21 points on 8 for 10 from the field off the bench.
Michigan's 6th man, who is basically an alternative starter. He actually played less minutes last year as the starter on a team that reached the Final Four, with Duncan Robinson substituting in for him frequently and getting more minutes. Isaiah Livers has been a huge part of this team and really filled in very nicely for Charles Matthews when Matthews was hurt for a couple weeks.
All right, and the lineups have been announced, and the ref, after fumbling the basketball for a little bit, is now ready to move toward midcourt as both coaches giving their final team talks before they take the court.
Here we go. You can feel it in the air. This is a big one. Music blaring loud, fans jumping up and down in every part of the United Center here as they're about to play a big game right under the banners. The retired Michael Jordan number banner down up here, along with 6 championship banners for the Chicago Bulls. What a stage. That's really all I can say. Both teams had their chance in Ann Arbor and East Lansing. Now it's going to be on the neutral court, prepping them for a busy March. Selection Sunday will be underway just about half an hour after this game concludes.
And United Center, as you said, alive and well. This is the most lively it's been all weekend. They've been some pretty raucous crowds so far over the course of the tournament, and just as well, WCBN pretty well represented. Of course, the 4 of us who have been delivering content all weekend, you, Daniel, you, me, Lucas Vargas, and Nate Sorensen, are here, as well as current WCBN member Jack Molino, as long as a pair of WCBN alumni Kevin Klein and Leo Blavin.
Yeah, big shout out to the Molino family for having us here in Chicago. They've been great, and yeah, a couple of great WCBN alumni here at this game. It is the place to be in college athletics tonight. All
right, it is John Teske versus Xavier Tillman for the opening tip-off. Teske, 7-1, has yet to win a face-off in this tournament, and Teske right on cue. No, back to excellent positioning by Kenny Goins. Back to Cassius Winston. We are underway in the final game. Aaron Henry at the top. Henry will get it back to Winston at the point, guarded by Simpson. Tillman looks to set a pick, and then quick pass out to Kenny Goins, and now back to Winston. Winston will move to his left. Pick set by Tillman, and a good switch by Michigan. Now Cassius Winston to Goins. McQuaid pulls up for a 3, and off the front of the rim, and a rebound by Charles Matthews, and Xavier Simpson will go the other way. Gives it to Jordan Poole as he crosses into the half court. And Jordan Poole moves to his right. Give and go with Ignas Brazdeikis. And now Charles Matthews at the top. Matthews looking for a lane. Poole cuts to the baseline, but Matthews does not see him and ultimately forced to give it back to Brazdeikis. Brazdeikis will move. Brazdeikis will drive to the rim and tries to, I'm not sure if that was a pass or an attempted shot, but either way, tipped away out of bounds off of Brazdeikis, Michigan State basketball.
I believe he was trying to find teammate John Teskey. That's something I've criticized him on air for, not having his head up when going to the rim. That time he at least wisely chose to avoid the shot. Could not find Teskey, though.
And McQuaid gives it to Aaron Henry to Cassius Winston. Tillman sets a pick. Winston goes to his right. Gives it off to Kenny Goins. Henry runs to the baseline. Excellent defense by Michigan underneath by Poole and Teskey. And McQuaid loses the ball, and Brazdeikis tips it away, but Winston able to recover. Now McQuaid. Goins from the corner for three, and did not go. And a rebound by Ignas Brazdeikis gives it off to Simpson. A bit of a scramble drill right there as Xavier Simpson holds up, and Michigan's offense will go to work. Brazdeikis moves to the right as Simpson with the ball moves to the left. Simpson on the left wing. Teskey looking to set a pick. Simpson gives it off to Poole. Poole back to Simpson. Simpson shot pretty well so far this tournament. Simpson to Brazdeikis from the corner for three, and it goes. Michigan with their first points.
Getting on the boards, Kenny Goins buried the Badgers yesterday by hitting a bunch of threes early. Doesn't connect on the first one while Brazdeikis connects on the other end.
And McQuaid on the right wing. McQuaid looking for space off a pick from Tillman. McQuaid, excellent defense by Jordan Poole, forced to hand it off to Kenny Goins. Goins to Winston. Cassius Winston at the top. A pick set by Tillman to Winston's left. Winston goes left, gives it off to Goins. Goins for three. Brazdeikis hand in his face. No good. A rebound by Brazdeikis.
Not good shot selection there by Michigan State. Goins had his open corner look on the last possession. That's not a shot he wants to take, and that is what Michigan needs to prevent in this game. A big showing from Kenny Goins.
John Teskey at the top. Now to Brazdeikis on the right wing. Brazdeikis to Poole. Poole looked to shoot. Ultimately decides against it. Teskey back to Poole. Poole backed off by Tillman. And now Jordan Poole on the left wing. Poole will look to move. Poole falls down, gets the pass off to Simpson. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Simpson to the baseline. Simpson driving layup, no good. Rebound by Xavier Tillman. And now Michigan State will try to push the tempo. Cassius Winston to Aaron Henry. Aaron Henry will drive straight past Matthews, and Goins underneath. A block by Charles Matthews. Now McQuaid off the offensive rebound for three, and it will not go, but another rebound by Michigan State. Now Kenny Goins underneath gets it all the way back out to Winston. And my voice cracked for the first time this game, and Winston will drive, tries to get a pass off to Goins. Goins fumbles but able to recover. Now Tillman to Henry to McQuaid. And McQuaid guarded by Poole off to Winston. Cassius Winston. Teskey switched on him. Winston underneath to Tillman, and Simpson over-pursued Michigan State with their first points off Xavier Tillman.
And that's what killed Michigan in the second matchup in East Lansing. They could not win those loose balls, and right there Michigan State gets a third, fourth, fifth chance on that possession. Maybe a bit of hyperbole there, but Michigan needs to get those loose balls.
That was not hyperbole. That was a third chance. And Brazdeikis to Matthews. Charles Matthews looking for space off a pick from Teskey. Matthews moves straight back into Aaron Henry. Now Matthews, spin around, fadeaway, no go, and a rebound by Aaron Henry. Not a great shot at all as Cassius Winston has the opportunity to lead the break. McQuaid wide open for three, and Matt McQuaid hits his first three of the game. Michigan State up 5-3.
And that was destined to happen. Michigan State has already gotten quite a few looks from three, that being their fifth and first one to go. 5-3, Spartans lead.
And Teskey at the top to Brazdeikis on the right wing. Brazdeikis will move to the middle and gives it off to Xavier Simpson. Xavier Simpson to Brazdeikis. Brazdeikis will drive. Brazdeikis will go straight up and is fouled by Xavier Tillman.
First foul of the game, and that is going to be big. Michigan, of course, has struggled with depth at times this season, although looking pretty good at guard with Charles Matthews healthy and Eli Brooks really coming to his own so far in this tournament. Now, Ignas Brazdeikis, of course, early in the first half of the Iowa game, went 0 for 2 on 2 free throw attempts that when the game was still pretty close back then. Now he has a chance to tie the game up. Was a really solid free throw shooter to start the year. Not so much right now. It will be interesting to see how he looks here in the biggest stage he's played on so far in his young career, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
And that takes us into the under-16 media timeout. Neither team having a lot of fun shooting, but the difference is in volume. Michigan State has taken 7 shots against Michigan's 3. State's percentage is actually worse. However, they do maintain the lead. 5-3, 2 for 7 shooting from the field against Michigan's 1 for 3.
Absolutely. Michigan State has gotten chance after chance. I don't believe Michigan has gotten any offensive rebounds, and they have less defensive rebounds than Michigan State has offensive rebounds. It's really been a team that it's really just been a story about, who gets those rebounds, who ends up winning those 50-50 balls. A lot of balls just rolling on the court. Michigan State was either better positioned, fortunate that the ball rolled their way. But that's going to be a difference in this one. This game is going to be close. It's going to come down to luck in some way or another. And so far, Michigan State has won those balls that are going to give them more chances on offense.
Michigan, after hitting the first three, has done absolutely nothing. No points in the last 2.5 minutes. And Michigan State, as you said, are already an advantage on the glass. 2 offensive rebounds already, both on the same possession as the media under 16 media timeout goes along. Matt McQuaid hitting a 3, however, that's his 3rd attempt. And Xavier Tillman with an easy layup underneath on the 3rd opportunity after 2 straight offensive rebounds. Kenny Goins, 0 for 3 from the field, including 0 for 2 from beyond the arc.
And we saw him just bury Wisconsin 6 feet underground in the first 5 minutes of that game, hitting 3 threes very early on, and that game was uncompetitive from the start. Wisconsin fought valiantly to get it within striking range a couple of times, but could not extend those runs to the point where they could recapture the lead. This game has already seen more lead changes than... Did Ohio State ever lead Michigan State in that first game we watched?
They may have in the first half.
Either way, I'd expect triple the lead changes in this game than these two teams have seen combined so far in the Big Ten tournament.
3 times 0 is still 0, Dan.
Well, Michigan has seen none. If Michigan State saw any early in their game, they're going to see a lot more tonight.
Yeah, says under 16 media timeout drawing to a close. Tom Izzo, a veteran of the Big Ten, now, as said, in his 24th season, one of the best, arguably, one would say, actually, I don't even think arguably, the best coach in Michigan State school history for basketball, as well as one of the best coaches in the country right now, and probably one of the best of all time in college basketball history. John Beilein, also considered a top 10 coach, if not top 5 in the country right now. Really a premier coaching matchup between Tom Izzo and John Beilein. Beilein, of course, having in his 12th season at Michigan yet to win a national title, however, 2 trips to the Final Four. Tom Izzo having won that national championship in 2000. And Ignas Brazdeikis, his first free throw, and off the front and then the back, and bounces out. And Brazdeikis really has gone cold at the free throw line in the last month. And
really has. 0 for 3 so far in this tournament, I believe.
And Brazdeikis, the second one, and it goes straight in. And Michigan cuts Michigan State's lead to 1. And Goins plays an inbound to Cassius Winston on the left wing. Cassius moves to the left. McQuaid sets a pick, and Winston off a double screen. Nick Ward in the game for the first time for Michigan State. And McQuaid handling the ball. Simpson switched on, and McQuaid moves. McQuaid steps out of bounds. Michigan basketball. No, a foul called on Xavier Simpson.
And that is going to be huge for the Wolverines. We saw in the Maryland game, in the first game Michigan played in March, Xavier Simpson had to sit for about 8 minutes, and a 8-point lead quickly turned into a deficit. The Wolverines need Xavier Simpson, and he's going to take a stint on the bench.
And Eli Brooks first off the bench for Michigan. And the inbound is played to Kenny Goins, and Goins will give it off to Cassius Winston. Winston moves slowly to his right. Nick Ward sets a pick to his opposite side, and Winston will take it. Ward will roll to the basket, and now Kenny Goins will drive to the hoop, and Nick Ward now in the paint. Nick Ward, the floating hook, and it will not go. A rebound by John Teske. And Teske plays the ball to Eli Brooks, who will move up into the half court. And Brooks give and go with Poole, then back to Matthews, now reverses it to Eli Brooks. Now Teske gives it to Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole pulls up for a quick 3, and off the back of the rim will not go, but an offensive rebound? No, Cassius Winston able to save it from going out of bounds.
No, he didn't, and Tom Izzo is livid, getting in the ears of the official as he points Michigan ball. I agree with Izzo, although I'm in the worst possible place to see that, as it's on the opposite end with Winston facing away from me.
I think the ref believes that Cassius Winston stepped on the boundary line. But either way, Michigan plays an inbound. Brooks to Teske, now to Brazdeikis at the top. Brazdeikis to Matthews. Now Brazdeikis. Brazdeikis will try to drive to the baseline, forced back by Nick Ward. And Charles Matthews, Brazdeikis for a 3, and it goes! Michigan back in the lead, 7-5. Brazdeikis with 6 points already. And Cassius Winston plays a quick inbound. State trying to play a secondary break, but Michigan, good job of getting numbers back in. Cassius Winston guarded by Eli Brooks. Winston gives it to Goins. Goins to Nick Ward. Nick Ward posts up against John Teske. And Nick Ward spins away from Teskey, and Nick Ward with his first points of the game.
7-7 game, and I don't expect this to be the last tie of the game. It'll be back and forth. We'll see how Eli Brooks can lead the Michigan offense for now.
And Teskey at the top looking for a lane, gives it to Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole will drive to the free throw line. Jordan Poole has the ball tipped away, able to recover and get it to Eli Brooks. Eli Brooks will drive now to Teskey. Teskey from 15 feet, and it will not go. And Charles Matthews fighting for the rebound, but ultimately rebounded by McQuaid. And now Cassius Winston gives it to Goins. Now Winston. Winston to Nick Ward in the post against Teskey again. Ward already scored from this position against John Teskey, and Ward comes with the same move, slinks it all the way back out to Aaron Henry. Aaron Henry will drive, and Aaron Henry with his first basket.
And one of the few complaints you can have about Michigan's game so far in the tournament has been Teskey's shooting from anywhere more than 2 feet away from the rim. Can't connect there from an open look. He'll have to get better if Michigan wants to win this game.
Eli Brooks gives the ball to Charles Matthews. Matthews drives to the baseline, gets past Aaron Henry, but ultimately forced back by Nick Ward. And Charles Matthews looking for a lane. Teskey looking to set a pick. Now Matthews will drive straight in, and Matthews gets it out to Brooks. Brooks pump fakes out Winston. Brooks for three, and it is not going to go. Off the side of the rim, and a rebound by Goins. Now Cassius Winston trying to push the tempo. Winston will drive on Poole, and Teskey, and Cassius Winston misses, but an offensive rebound by Nick Ward and a block. But off Charles Matthews, out of bounds. Michigan State will have the ball with a full shot clock.
Michigan will not win this game if they continue to rebound like they have been. I mean, credit to Michigan State. They have been killing Michigan on the boards. They're a bit bigger of a team as well. But, I mean, Michigan, and I can't really credit it due to hustle so far. A lot of it has been a bit of lucky bounces for the Spartans, but they have not been able to impose their size and get any of these crucial rebounds.
Isaiah Livers in for Michigan, as well as an odd moment. It appears Kyle Ahrens sprinted out of the locker room to get substituted on for Michigan State. Cassius Winston also sitting for the first time in this game. Foster Lawyer running the offense for the Spartans, and Foster Lawyer guarded by Brooks. Lawyer off a pick from Ward, and all the way back to Kyle Ahrens on the side, and Kyle Ahrens hits a three for Michigan State.
Left wide open. Livers could not quite get back there in time to really put any pressure on Ahrens, and now it's a 5-point deficit, biggest lead for either team.
And Eli Brooks taking signals from Coach Beeline. Brooks gives it off to Brazdakis. Brazdakis looking for space. Now Isaiah Livers. Jordan Poole, Brazdakis underneath the rim. An excellent move by Iggy Brazdakis, and Michigan cuts the lead to 3. And now Michigan State trying to play a secondary break. Lawyer guarded by Brooks at the top. Lawyer moves to the right, gives it off to Matt McQuaid. McQuaid off a screen from Nick Ward. And McQuaid, good defense by Poole, as McQuaid, not having a lot of options, gives it off to Goins. Goins gives it off to Lawyer. And Lawyer looking for a lane. And Lawyer off a screen from Goins. Lawyer will roll it off to Nick Ward, and Nick Ward will pull up from the free throw line, and another easy bucket for Michigan State.
That's not his shot, but he converts it. Teskey failed a similar opportunity earlier. Michigan was pretty content with letting him take that, but the big man does deliver from the free throw line.
And now Ignas Brazdakis moves to the center. Now Isaiah Livers. Isaiah Livers, Michigan's leading three-point shooter, 46% from beyond the arc. Jordan Poole gets it all the way out to Eli Brooks at the corner. Brooks on Ahrens. And now Brooks looking for space. Now John Teskey. John Teskey pulls up for a quick three and off the front of the rim, and a rebound by Matt McQuaid.
And he's really come a long way as a three-point shooter this season, but right now really struggling from beyond the arc in Chicago.
Matt McQuaid gives it off to Goins. Now to Foster Lawyer. To Ahrens at the corner. Ahrens looking for a lane. Now Ahrens moves to the center. Ahrens gives it off to Nick Ward. And Ward gives it to Lawyer. Lawyer has it stolen away by Livers. Jordan Poole going the other way. Michigan will not be able to play that break, as not quite able to jump on it as assertively as the Spartans. And now Jordan Poole to the baseline. Jordan Poole will go up and is fouled by Kenny Goins.
And Jordan Poole on the last two defensive possessions did a wonderful job using his size. At 6'4", he's bigger than a lot of Michigan State's guards. And when he nearly got a steal from Matt McQuaid on the possession that resulted in a Nick Ward made basically free throw. I almost called Matt McQuaid Foster Lawyer, because he looked like he was Foster Lawyer with the way that Jordan Poole had really pinned him back there and used his size over Matt McQuaid. And right there, Foster Lawyer, with being a 5'10" guy, was stripped right there with Jordan Poole just asserting his longer wingspan. You're going to wonder if we're going to see a lot more Cassius Winston now with the way Jordan Poole has bullied the rest of the Michigan State guards. And of course, Cassius Winston, just such a phenomenal offensive player, despite his also smaller size. He is so skilled with the basketball.
And we are now in the under 12 timeout. 10:37 left in the first half. Michigan State 14, Michigan 9. Michigan State shooting improved 6 for 14 as 43% from the field, including 33% from beyond the arc. Michigan 2 for 5 from beyond the arc, but 3 for 9 from the field overall, i.e. 1 for 4 on 2-point shots. Not what you want to see. Ignas Brazdeikis with 9 points already. And really, actually, now that I say that, he's the only scorer for Michigan.
Yeah, the one free throw was his. And that's something that it didn't really occur to me. I mean, the rest of the Michigan offenses looks fine moving the ball, just not great shots. Jordan Poole now will have a good chance of maybe getting on the board. But, yeah, I mean, Michigan needs to thrive without Ignas Brazdeikis. That was a big issue with their game in East Lansing. Ignas Brazdeikis was playing wonderfully, got in foul trouble, had to sit out the rest of the second half, and then Michigan State slowly creeped back into that game before just blowing it up halfway through the second half.
Yes, and already Michigan, the only player to commit a foul is Xavier Simpson for the Wolverines. Michigan State, a pair of fouls on Kenny Goins and Xavier, one foul each on Kenny Goins and Xavier Tillman. Actually, I was mistaken. That foul on Poole was by Matt McQuaid, not Kenny Goins.
But Michigan State really sharing the ball, different scores all around, and most importantly, getting more offensive possessions. I don't know what the disparity in shots is right now. Michigan
14-9.
Yeah, 14-9 in shots from the field. Michigan is having taken also 2 free throws that Michigan State is not, but this is going to have to become a more team effort on offense if the Wolverines want to win this one. Teskey's going to have to shoot better. A lot to go in this one. Still over half an hour of basketball to be played in the biggest game in the Big Ten this season.
Yep, and there's the buzzer sounding as the media timeout starting to come to an end as the players break. It'll be interesting to see, and it looks like Xavier Simpson is back on the court, as well as his first appearance of the game, freshman center Colin Castleton, as John Teskey and Ignas Brazdeikis both go to the bench. Michigan going to play a smaller lineup. Jordan Poole playing at a 3 with a backcourt of Xavier Simpson and Eli Brooks.
And Teskey not in any foul trouble so far, but has looked his worst I think I've seen him in a while. Defensively and offensively, just not playing his best. We'll see how long Castleton remains in this game.
And Jordan Poole, his first free throw, and it goes. Michigan cuts Michigan State's lead to 4.
And while Michigan's offensive production has dropped as the season has gone on, Jordan Poole has stayed consistently an excellent free throw shooter.
And now Jordan Poole had 7 assists last night against Minnesota, and Poole hits the second free throw and his first 2 points of the game. And now Cassius Winston back in the game will try and play a secondary break. Michigan State, 4 of their starters on. The only one not Aaron Henry. Kyle Ahrens is on instead. And now Winston moves to his left off a screen from Tillman, moves to the right. Winston gives it to McQuaid. Ahrens at the corner. Ahrens over the head to Xavier Tillman, posts up against Colin Castleton. And Kyle Ahrens at the corner for 3. Jordan Poole went to sleep, but off the front of the rim. Rebound by Eli Brooks. Michigan has room to run. Brooks lays it off to Poole. Jordan Poole for 3, and no go, and a rebound by Xavier Tillman. Isaiah Livers not able to come down with it, and Matt McQuaid gives it off to Winston, who will move to the top. Now Winston moves to his left, and Winston with a quick 3, and it goes. Cassius Winston, his first points.
Colin Castleton's nearly a foot taller than Cassius Winston, and he cannot get pushed off the way Cassius Winston was able to get to just discard him through a quick move. Michigan needs to step up defensively, down 6 now.
And Xavier Simpson will move to the center. Now Isaiah Livers looks to pull up for 3, ultimately decides against it. Livers gives it off to Brooks. And Eli Brooks, Castleton sets a pick, and Eli Brooks moves in. Now Livers moves inside the arc. Livers pulls up from the free throw line, and that's an extremely low percentage shot. And a rebound by Xavier Tillman. Cassius Winston will now go the other way. And Winston moves to his right. Winston, and once again against Castleton. Now Tillman posts up against Livers, and Tillman goes up, and another offensive rebound by Michigan State as Cassius Winston has it back out at the top. And Winston off a screen from Tillman, and an illegal screen on Xavier Tillman. No, a foul on Xavier Tillman.
And that's his second. That's big.
That is Xavier Tillman's second foul, and Michigan will have the ball. John Teskey and Ignas Brazdeikis coming back in the game as Colin Castleton and it looks like Eli Brooks will go to the bench. And Michigan State also making 2 subs. Thomas Kittier coming in for the first time, and Aaron Henry coming back in the game as Xavier Tillman goes to the bench.
And Nick Ward has not been part of a Michigan State team to defeat Michigan in forever.
And now Brazdakis at the top. Brazdakis over the top to Teske. Teske goes up and stripped clean by Aaron Henry. No, a foul called on Aaron Henry. John Teske will shoot two.
Teske has shot well in the Big Ten tournament. Not a great free throw shooter historically, but he has been one of the more consistent free throw shooters for Michigan in the past several weeks. As foul trouble is right now one of the only things going Michigan's way. They lead 4-1 in the fouls game. Poole was the last Wolverine to get on the board.
As John Teske hits his first free throw.
And now 3 Wolverines having scored, but not nearly the way they've shared the ball at like Michigan State. Multiple Spartans having gotten in on the scoring action.
And Teske hits the second free throw, and Michigan State will try and play a secondary break and ultimately decides to just get into the half court as Cassius Winston at the top off a screen from Henry. Cassius Winston at the right wing gives it to over the top to Aaron Henry against Simpson. And Henry cuts back. Henry, low percentage shot. And another offensive rebound by Michigan State. And Michigan a scramble play. And an excellent work by John Teske. Bowling over a rim in the process. Jordan Poole goes in for a quick layup.
What an effort play by John Teske. I saw him body up Kyle Ahrens earlier as that shot was taken to ensure he couldn't get the rebound. However, Ahrens still got loose. Threw the ball off Brazdakis' thigh as Ahrens was slipping out of bounds. Then Teske makes an absurd diving move and just completely knocks over the official. Not going to be popular with the ref after that one, but makes an amazing play and gets the Wolverines down to 2.
And now Cassius Winston moves to the right. And give and go with Ahrens. And now Kittier. Kittier gives it off to Winston. Winston back to Goins. Goins has not sat down so far in this game. And Winston moves to the right. Kittier sets the screen. Winston goes left. And a steal by John Teske. Gives it off to Xavier Simpson. Michigan has an opportunity to tie the game, but State gets numbers back. Michigan can't play a break. And Xavier Simpson at the top. Teske sets the screen. Simpson goes to the right. Now Iggy Brazdakis at the top. Over the head to Teske. Too high. Teske hits the deck. And off John Teske. And Kyle Ahrens not touching that ball. And Michigan another turnover on offense.
Wasted an opportunity. If Michigan had scored there, they would have blown the roof off Chrysler. And not all 2-pointers are created equal as Jordan Poole finishes at the rim and evokes the Let's Go Blue chants. It'll only get louder once John Teske comes away with that steal. An ill-advised pass, though, from Ignas Brazdakis. The location of it wasn't awful. There were not many ways he could have thrown that ball to Teske and still had Teske come down with it. Michigan needs to get a bit more creative offensively. They had excellent ball movement against Minnesota. Not seeing it so far today against Michigan State.
And now we are in the under 8 media timeout as Michigan State now in the lead, but it's shrunk 17-15 as Ignas Brazdakis still shooting 100% from the field. His only miss being one of his 2 free throws. Brazdakis with 9 points, scored all of Michigan's first 9 points. Since then, Jordan Poole has made 2 free throws and hit a fast break layup, and John Teske has made 2 free throws.
It'll be Michigan State ball, though, coming out of the under 8 timeout. Was there an under 12 timeout?
Yes, there was.
Okay, this has been moving so quickly. It's almost a bit hard to keep track as we are at the 7:48 mark. A lot of basketball left to be played, but it's been high-flying. It's been a lot to handle already. And Michigan State got out to as much as a 6-point lead when it was 17-11. 4 unanswered points and counting for the Wolverines. A lot more to be played in this one, and about still an hour and 2 hours really till we know who will be cutting down the nets as Big Ten tournament champions. And immediately after finding out their fate in the Big Ten tournament, both these teams are going to have to await the selection committee's decision for what their seeding will be. Both teams you can pencil in safely as a 2 seed. I would be shocked if Michigan were relegated to a 3.
That most likely will not happen with their current run to the Big Ten tournament final and a pair of authoritative wins over Iowa and Minnesota. And of course, Minnesota in the quarterfinals, having pulled the upset over the second-seeded Purdue Boilermakers.
Indeed, Michigan State taking the harder route to this Big Ten final, although they never quite dominated the games the way Michigan had. Iowa and Ohio State pretty comparable opponents, but Wisconsin clearly a step above Minnesota in terms of how good they've been throughout the season in basketball. Michigan, though, dominating Minnesota in a way few teams ever get beat.
And now as the under 8 timeout about to come to an end as teams are ready to go back to the floor. And John Beeline looks like, once again, will not make any substitutions. It is Simpson, Poole, Livers, Brazdakis, Teskey. And Michigan State with a 5 of Goins, Winston, Henry, Kittier, and Matt McQuaid is back in the game. And Michigan State plays an inbound, Goins to Winston. Winston moving to the left wing, and Kittier sets a screen. Now Winston moves, Kittier rolls. Kenny Goins at the corner, gives it back to Winston at the top. Another screen by Kittier. Kittier will roll, good defense by Livers. And now Kenny Goins will opt to drive back to Aaron Henry. Aaron Henry guarded by Brazdakis. Henry will go to the free throw line, and Henry will pull up, and it will not go. Rebound by John Teskey, and now Xavier Simpson has the ball for Michigan, crosses the halfway line as Michigan will settle into their offense. And Simpson looking for space. John Teskey looking to set a screen, ultimately not really much of one. And Xavier Simpson gives it to Poole. Jordan Poole gives it back to Simpson. Shot clock, 10 seconds left. And Xavier Simpson, ball into John Teskey. John Teskey with his first points from the field. And the game is tied at 17. Michigan State playing a secondary break. Aaron Henry blocked by John Teskey. And now Xavier Simpson has room to run. Simpson will go straight in. Xavier Simpson, and Xavier Simpson gives Michigan the first lead in 10 minutes.
Aaron Henry came a fingernail away from blocking that one, but Xavier Simpson is so great at the rim and just nudges that ball right where it needed to be to give Michigan their second lead of the night.
And Aaron Henry at the top, guarded closely by Jordan Poole, gives it off to Winston. Winston off a screen from Kittier. Winston drives to the baseline. Winston slings it all the way back out to McQuaid. And McQuaid fakes out Livers. McQuaid pulls up from about 18 feet off the front of the rim. Another rebound by John Teskey. Teskey gives it to Simpson. Now Xavier Simpson across the halfway line. And Simpson at the top, slowing it down. Michigan settles into their offense as the Michigan crowd in full voice, and Brazdakis will drive and loses it, gives it off to Teskey. Teskey back to Poole. Jordan Poole gets to the corner. Jordan Poole, three-point attempt blocked by Aaron Henry. And out of bounds, Michigan State basketball off John Teskey.
And that was going to be another 50-50 call right there. It's been a real scrappy fight right now. And that one looked like it was off Aaron Henry to me, but the officials have been pretty solid so far. I will defer to their judgment right there.
And Goins, an inbound to Matt McQuaid. And McQuaid moves into the half court. McQuaid gives it off to Nick Ward, who is back in the game. Nick Ward give and go with Winston. Cassius Winston back to Goins underneath Nick Ward. Nick Ward posting up against Teskey. Ward, a low percentage shot off the back of the rim. A rebound by Xavier Simpson. And now Xavier Simpson will move in. Michigan settles in. Teskey looking to set a screen, ultimately doesn't. And now Simpson looking for space. Simpson moves to the free throw line. Simpson over the top to Teskey. Teskey underneath the basket. Teskey goes up and gets another layup.
And Teskey has been dominating Nick Ward so far since the under 8 timeout. That is the matchup Michigan wants. And Xavier Tillman, we still haven't seen since he acquired his second foul. We'll have to see when he comes in as Matthews checks in at the scorer's table.
And Goins has it tipped away by Brazdakis straight to Cassius Winston, however. Winston, Brazdakis switched on him. Winston screened by Nick Ward, and Simpson tries to play a ball underneath, but nobody is there. Nick Ward didn't even roll to the basket as Michigan gets the ball back.
A rare mistake there by Cassius Winston, and that ball was much closer to Isaiah Livers than it ever was to Matt McQuaid. Livers nearly inadvertently tipped that off his fingers. So now a 4-point lead for the Wolverines with 4:57 to go as Charles Matthews enters the game for, looks like Ignas Brazdakis. Or no, John Teskey. Teskey to the bench.
And Eli Brooks is also in the game. Jordan Poole has gone to the bench. And Thomas Kittier is back in the game. Nick Ward straight to the bench. And now Xavier Simpson gives it to Brazdakis. Brazdakis gives it to Simpson at the corner. Xavier Simpson now moves slightly back to his left. Eli Brooks settles in at the corner. And now Simpson, Brooks at the corner, back to Simpson. Simpson looking for space. Simpson pulls up for a quick three and off the back of the rim. That was never going. And a rebound by Kenny Goins. Brazdakis almost got the offense, and a stoppage of play as I believe that is
Ahrens, it looks like to me.
That is Kyle Ahrens, who was down on the court, and went straight down holding his ankle.
He looks badly injured. I mean, this is a horrible sight to see. He's moving a bit. He's not out cold or anything. Oh, he collided with teammate Kenny Goins. And his looked like his ankle was tied in kind of a three-way knot there between Goins,
Oh.
Brosdakis, and Ahrens, and that is not a pretty sight to see.
Yeah, looks like he got the left side of his ankle. I think that's off of Brosdakis' shoe and then rolled it on the turf. Or the court, rather. When rolling ankles, we usually end up talking about Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
But Kyle,
yeah, seeing his face right now on the big board, he is in pain.
Yeah, Kyle Ahrens is in a lot of pain. If I had to guess, he will be stretchered off.
Yeah, his night is almost certainly done. I mean, if he does come back, that is props to him. That would be an amazing effort if he could come back into this one. The good news is it might not be a long-term damage. It's nothing that makes you look at it and think that could be long. As I see the stretcher come in now, courtside.
Yeah,
you got to hope. For Michigan State, at least, you can hope he might be back for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's slightly reminiscent of an injury suffered by Michigan women's basketball team captain Nicole Munger. Rolled her ankle and ultimately hurt it. Didn't need a stretcher, but ultimately had to limp back into the locker room. Her day was done that day against Michigan State. However, she was able to come back and play the next game, but no doubt extremely painful.
Yeah, and couple of WCBN members watching in Ann Arbor are telling us you can hear his screams of pain right now on the broadcast. And you got to hope this is not a broken ankle. Typically, ankle injuries are not that long-term, except for the broken ankles, and those are ones that can destroy an athlete's career. It did not look like anything was broken down there, although, I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything. You never really truly know, but his sock is covering up the ankles, which prevents me from really having a great guess. So this is he's surrounded right now by medical trainers, several Michigan State coaches.
Yeah, you could hear a pin drop here in the United Center, dead quiet.
It was so loud 2 minutes ago.
Yes, and Ahrens looks like they're trying to suspend the ankle a little bit, and doesn't look like they're going to wrap him in an air cast. And they might not even be putting him on the stretcher. It's hard to say. The crowd at the United Center rising to their feet.
It would be hard for him to walk up. I mean, he hasn't gotten up yet. He hasn't attempted to get up.
They are putting Kyle Ahrens' left ankle and really his left shin in a cast.
Yep, that's a very tough sight to see. Nate Sorensen reminding us that back in his days at Michigan, Karis LeVert had a similar injury. This is really a horrible sight to see. Charles Matthews, of course, got hurt in the first meeting of these two teams, an ankle injury as well, but he was able to play for a lot of that game, which turned out to be not a great thing for him as he missed the next couple of weeks.
And the whole team crowded around Kyle Ahrens, and when it comes to an ankle injury, of course, the worst case scenario, and actually it's beginning to look a little bit like it, is either a broken ankle or a torn Achilles.
And those are almost sometimes year-long recoveries. You really hope this is just a rolled ankle, but it's looking less and less like it. And he is just now, with the help of teammates, starting to lift his back up. And you see Nick Ward with tears coming down his face. And this was a really great atmosphere, but this is going to put a damper on it for at least till halftime.
Yes, and Kyle Ahrens is able to get to his one working foot, and it looks like he will be loaded onto the stretcher.
And he's able to do a bit of a one-foot hop with assistance to get himself onto the stretcher. Just a horrible sight to see. I mean, chilling, really sucks the atmosphere out of the United Center as Ahrens is fighting back tears right now, being hugged by teammate Matt McQuaid as he knows his night is done and very possibly his season. High-fiving all of his teammates right now as he's about to get carted off.
And now the United Center all quiet again as looks like the coaches talking with Kyle Ahrens as he's now getting rolled off the court.
And you can hear the applause. Really a chilling sight to see. Shaking hands with a couple of managers as he is carted off and going to the locker room. And I'm probably just going to go straight to they must have X-ray facilities here in the United Center, home of the Bulls and the Blackhawks. You'd imagine he's going to be getting X-rays right away, and hopefully we see there's no serious internal damage to that ankle, because that's the kind of injury that can derail not only a season but a career.
Yes, and perhaps a bit frighteningly reminiscent, a reminder of what what lower body injuries can do. Michigan State player Joshua Langford on the sidelines, having lost his season to injury 4 months ago. And now Cassius Winston gives it to McQuaid. McQuaid pulls up for a three, and it goes.
And that's exactly what Michigan State needed to get their minds off the injury and back in this game, down 1 now.
And Xavier Simpson will move to his left. Give and go with Charles Matthews. Now Livers. Isaiah Livers will drive. Isaiah Livers finds some space with McQuaid and gets his points, his first basket of the game. And Cassius Winston off a screen from Kittier. And Winston to Goins. Goins to McQuaid. Matt McQuaid has it tipped away by Jordan Poole and off Matt McQuaid's leg. And Michigan will force another turnover, and that will take us to the under 4 timeout. Michigan 23, Michigan State 23, 56 left. Michigan on a torrid run to go from down 8 to now up 3, but of course this recent run marred by pretty frightening injury to Michigan State's Kyle Ahrens.
And Matt McQuaid lightening the mood a bit by hitting that three, getting the Spartan faithful something to cheer about. Then right on the other end, Isaiah Livers sends Matt McQuaid to the floor. And McQuaid, I'm sure, was looking for a foul there. I think that was a fair call to let Livers play on and finish up that layup, then commits the turnover right there. So I'm sure his mind is racing right now as he embraced his teammate just 5 minutes ago before getting carted off.
Yes, and now they go over. Now they go. Both teams going through what will be the final media timeout, and teams generally don't take timeouts in the first half, so this will very likely be the last stoppage, as both Coach Izzo and Coach Beeline going over their team talk. Izzo's is going to be a bit more interesting because now he has to calm the emotions of his team as well as make an adjustment without one of his key bench players. Kyle Aaron's been an important player all week, as we've just seen for, thankfully, the last time the oft-repeated questions asked to the players. Unfortunately, they haven't asked any new questions since Thursday, asking Michigan State players who would play them in a movie. I can appreciate Coach Tom Izzo saying he'd be played by Al Pacino. And Nick Ward saying he'd be played by Michael B. Jordan, which actually I think that'd be fairly decent casting as well. Yeah, you're not going to really find many actors in Hollywood with the same size and bulk as Nick Ward. I don't think Michael B. Jordan has quite as broad of shoulders, but it would be pretty solid casting for a very special body of Nick Ward. Yes, as well as I would approve of casting Al Pacino as Coach Tom Izzo in a movie. Al Pacino, of course, well known for being in the Michael Corleone in The Godfather, as well as Tony Montana in Scarface. Mm-hmm. Indeed. We're going to, we'll get back underway here in the final 4 minutes of Nick and I's first half call. Lucas Vargas and Nate Sorensen coming to you in the second half. It's been an eventful first half so far, and I'm sure we're going to see a bit more back and forth action in the remaining 24 minutes. This is probably the last stoppage of play in the first half. And both teams getting even more time to regroup since the Kyle Ahrens injury. Maybe Michigan State having an opportunity to draw up their game plan going forward without him. It will be a great game going forward, I can promise you that. You got to wonder how both teams are going to react to that injury going forward. It can certainly change the dynamic of any game. Yes, and now as the under 4 timeout rolls on, as Michigan State's well-known mascot Sparty stalking around at half court, and Michigan, of course, not in possession of an official mascot. I know we are all of us here at WCBN are fans of the unofficial mascot, the Murder Wolf. For any fans at home listening and you aren't aware of the Murder Wolf, give it a Google image. You'll know exactly why he has that moniker. Just a fan who dresses up before the Michigan football games, walking around in a Wolverine-type full body suit. The unofficial mascot for sure. Way back in the day, they used to have a Wolverine. That was back in the 20s. Benny and Biff, the Wolverines. And now Jordan Poole will play an inbound to Xavier Simpson as play resumes here at the United Center. Xavier Simpson, under 4 minutes now left in the first half. Xavier Simpson moves to his left. Simpson guarded by Kittier, and a quick screen from Livers, and Simpson gives it back to Livers. Now Xavier Simpson guarded by Cassius Winston. Brazdakis back in the game. Will look to move, and now Isaiah Livers pulls up for his first three of the game, and it goes! Isaiah Livers has been lights out over the course of this tournament.
Livers now, thanks to his own shooting and C.J. Baird going on a cold streak, is now the highest three-point percentage player on the Michigan Wolverines.
C.J. Baird going into the Big Ten tournament a 100% three-point shooter. And Cassius Winston off a screen from Kittier, and Kittier rolls to the basket, and Ignas Brazdeikis draws the charge.
And that's going to be a huge momentum changer right there. Michigan already now with their biggest lead of the game, 26-20. Kittier very nearly knotted things up, but that really heads-up play there by Brazdeikis, parking himself just outside the restricted zone. His heels not quite touching it, draws the foul, did not move a muscle as he waited for Kittier.
And Jordan Poole moves to his right. Jordan Poole with the ball. Poole will now move to the baseline. Jordan Poole goes up and has it tapped away out of bounds. Michigan will retain the basketball.
And Jordan Poole can score like no other player on this team beside maybe Brazdeikis on his best days when he is hot, but he needs to be a little bit more hesitant to go into iso ball right there early in the shot clock.
Simpson gives it to Brazdeikis. Now Isaiah Livers. Livers at the top gives it to Poole. Jordan Poole at the left wing. Poole now moves to the center. Jordan Poole looking to pull up for three. Gives it back to Simpson, however. 3 seconds left of the shot clock. Simpson, hook shot, goes!
The first Xavier Simpson's patented skyhook of the game is good. 28-20, Wolverines, 2:40 to play.
And Cassius Winston to Kenny Goins. Kenny Goins with space. Kenny Goins finds Matt McQuaid. Matt McQuaid moves to the center. Goins wide open in the corner. But Cassius Winston doesn't see him. And now Aaron Henry back to Winston. And screen set by Kittier. Winston gives it to McQuaid. McQuaid open for three. And Matt McQuaid calms the run. And Xavier Simpson takes a quick inbound from Poole, but will move in rather deliberately into the offense. Simpson moves just to his right, motions for Brazdeikis to come back, gives it off to Brazdeikis. Now Livers to Charles Matthews. Charles Matthews been fairly quiet this game so far. Xavier Simpson at the top will move to his right. And 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Xavier Simpson will pull up for a three, and off the back of the rim. Xavier Simpson not having a great day shooting so far, and rebound by Henry. Now Matt McQuaid, another open three, and off the front of the rim, and a rebound by Isaiah Livers, and now to Brazdeikis. Michigan has room to run. Excellent fast break defense by Aaron Henry to force Brazdeikis to slow down. Brazdeikis gives it off to Simpson. And Xavier Simpson back to Brazdeikis on the right. Brazdeikis pulls up for a three. Good! Ignas Brazdeikis in double figures, 12 points, 3 for 3 from beyond the arc, and Nick 4 for 4 from the field, and Tom Izzo forced to call his first timeout.
You said there was probably not going to be another stoppage of play, and teams rarely do call timeouts in the first half, but things are looking grim right now for the Spartans. Of course, down 8, they've been in bigger holes versus Michigan and come back this season, but down 8, getting really beaten on the fouls. The refs, for the most part, swallowed their whistles, but 5-1 is the foul game, and we still have not seen Xavier Tillman since drawing a second foul. I'd have to guess he comes back in now. Michigan has managed their fouls very well. Of course, probably their most important player, Xavier Simpson, has taken the one. But one foul for Simpson in the first half is a fine result for the Wolverines. Michigan State is going to have to weather the storm here and make sure things don't get out of hand. Now, they were down by as much as 12 2 weeks ago in East Lansing. And right now, I still don't see Tillman out there. No Tillman, Kenny Goins for the inbound. They don't have Nick Ward out either. They're playing small right now with Kittier being the closest player to playing the 5 right now. And not sure why Izzo called the timeout if he wasn't going to change.
Not sure. Xavier Tillman not in the game, but you know who is back in the game is John Teskey, as Michigan went on that run with Teskey on the bench. And Cassius Winston off screen from Kittier. Now back to Goins. Kenny Goins, I don't believe, has taken a seat all game, and now Winston back to Goins. Goins open for three, but good defense by Brazdeikis closing out the space. And Goins will look to drive on Brazdeikis. Goins the fadeaway off the back of the rim, but another offensive rebound by Michigan State. Cassius Winston will drive. Cassius Winston straight to the rim, and a block by John Teskey. Jordan Poole has room to run, 2-on-3, however. Good job by Michigan State to get numbers back. Michigan will have to hold back. And it looks like Xavier Tillman is over at the scorer's table now. And
he's not going to get much time, though, if any.
37 seconds left in the first half, and Brazdeikis pulls up for a three off the front of the rim. That was too ambitious, and rebound by Michigan State. Less than a second separating shot and game clock. State will probably get the last shot unless they take a quick one. And
Winston seems content to dribble this ball down to about 8 seconds.
Cassius Winston taking his time. Luke Yaklich screaming at the Michigan players from the sidelines. And Kittier will roll to the basket. Now 6 seconds left. Winston looking to drive. Simpson forcing him back. Simpson looking for the steal. Now Winston finds some space. Winston off the front of the rim, and that will end the first half. And Michigan 0 for 2 against the Spartans so far and look to be in trouble halfway through the first half. Absolutely stormed Michigan State and now goes into halftime with an 8-point 31-23 lead.
Now, obviously, the moment of the first half is Kyle Ahrens going down, a terrible scene, and really dampened an otherwise wonderful half of basketball. But beside that, Xavier Tillman taking his second foul pretty early in the half, I think, changed this game. Nick Ward has historically just not been his best against the Wolverines and did not play in the first 2 Michigan State wins of the season, injured for both times. And he has struggled as well, not even playing for a lot of this stretch here at the end. Xavier Tillman does not get a chance to enter the playing field despite being at the scorer's table. He will be a big part of the equation in the second half if he can stay out of foul trouble. But I think that is a big reason why Michigan is up 8. Second only, and the other development I'd have to say is Kenny Goins, who going into this game had my vote for most outstanding player of the tournament, was phenomenal in his first 2 games, and I think took Wisconsin out of the game before it really started yesterday, has been a non-factor. I think you mentioned he's played 20 full minutes, and he has done next to nothing. I don't think he's on the scoreboard at all, and he had a couple of good looks from 3 early on, could not connect. And I think those are the 2 big things. The fact that Xavier Tillman and Kenny Goins have been contained are why Michigan is winning by 8 right now at the half, despite not playing their best basketball either, really, beside Ignas Brazdeikis.
Yes, and Kenny Goins and Cassius Winston combined for 3 points. Cassius Winston hitting that 1-3, and both combined 1 for 8 shooting from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. And now as we move into the 15-minute break for halftime, we will step away as Nate Sorensen and Lucas Vargas will bring you the second half. Thank you very much for listening so far for WCBN's coverage of the Michigan men's basketball team in the Big Ten tournament. My name is Nick Hornberg, and alongside Daniel Thompson, we'd like to thank you very much for listening to us as Nate and Lucas will bring you the second half.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of the Big Ten Championship game. My name is Lucas Vargas alongside Nate Sorensen, and what I have of basketball, we saw a little bit of everything. The score currently is Michigan 31, Michigan State 23, and, you know, I think the first observation I'm going to mention is that Michigan has 10 assists on 11 made field goals, and that is consistent with the theme that we saw the last two games. I mean, you know, we had a 24 assist game against Iowa. We saw a 21 assist game against Minnesota, and Michigan on pace to basically match or go above those levels here in this game already. But, you know, that's something we talked to the guys a lot in the locker room yesterday about, and, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we knew that this game wasn't going to be as explosive offensively for the Wolverines. I guess I didn't think that. But it's great to see them come out here, play the same exact way. And this hasn't been the most dominant offensive performance. 31 points and a half is certainly nothing to sneeze at, but it's it's a modest compared to what they've done the last couple of days. But you love to see the team stick with the same process, really trying to play team ball, and that's taken them a long ways, and I think that's the reason why they're winning right here at the half.
Yeah, emphasizing the ball movement, passing the ball, one of the keys to the games for sure. And the other thing that you and I talked a lot about, I know before this game even started, was the rebounding matchup. Michigan State absolutely obliterated Michigan on the boards in East Lansing the last time out, something that Michigan State does take a lot of pride in, the Spartans do. They have 18 rebounds, Michigan 14, but that is, you know, relatively speaking, a decent mark for the Wolverines to be at compared to getting out-rebounded by over 20 in East Lansing. They've kept things close on that end, and Michigan State does have quite a few offensive rebounds, but Wolverines have got to keep the rebounding margin close.
Yeah, and it did help when Xavier Tillman left the game after he got his second foul. As soon as he left the game, or did he end up? Yes, he had 2 fouls, had to get a quick hook. He's leading the team with 4 rebounds right now, and when he came out of the game, you could see a big difference, but when he comes out here, I'm sure he's going to start the second half. It's going to be very important for the Wolverines to get a body on him, box him out, because him and Goins attacking the glass together, they keep getting offensive rebounds the same way they did in the first half. Fortunes may change here for the Wolverines.
Yeah, Kenny Goins played the entire first half, 20 minutes for him. Wonder how he'll be fatigue-wise here in the second half. Nick Ward, his first action against Michigan this season, missed the first 2 games with a hand injury. He's back, and you know, mixed results, 2 for 5 from the field for the big man and the Spartans. Another interesting point to make for the Spartans is that Kyle Ahrens, important bench guard for them, left with a gruesome injury. I think it was lower leg, maybe knee potentially, but he left on a stretcher, so he definitely will not be back. And that means that guys like Matt McQuaid and Cassius Winston are going to see their load tick up. I mean, they're definitely capable of handling, but Michigan State does lose a little bit of that bench depth.
They sure do, and I thought maybe, you never know when a guy goes down like that. Maybe a team starts playing a little bit with a little bit more fire, a little bit more energy. It didn't look like Michigan State. Maybe they just don't have playing their 3rd game in 3 days. Maybe they just can't really pick it up another gear, another notch. It's a little tough to do that with the fatigue issue here. But
they came out, and Matt McQuaid immediately after the injury, right down the court, hit a 3. McQuaid, the senior from Duncanville, Texas.
We just got some word on Ahrens here. They have taken x-rays here in the stadium. It is confirmed he has a fracture in his ankle. I don't know how that works. It looked like it was at like a 90-degree angle. Freudian slip there.
Yeah, he was yelling pretty loudly and left with tears in his eyes. Parents taken from the stands and went to the locker room with him. So hope that he's able to come back from that, by all means, a good player for the Spartans and seemed like a good guy as well. Hope that he's all right with that injury. But, I mean, let's shift it over to Michigan and focus here in the last minute or so. John Teske finishing it around the rim, despite Michigan bringing Nick Ward back for this game. I mean, that's a lot of size to deal with. John Teske, you wonder in the first game in Ann Arbor, did Teske get a little too tired, battling down low? They don't usually throw it to him on post feeds too often, but he is finishing around the rim right now, and that's something that's really important. 6 points for him at the moment, and Ignas Brezdeikis, the other guy that's really shot up in the scoring column right now.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Nick Ward being back, you would think it would make things tougher down low for Teske, but it's strange how it works here. It's kind of like the Patrick Ewing theory made famous by Bill Simmons. Sometimes when a player loses or a team loses one of their best players, they get better, and I think that's MSU's problem with Nick Ward is that when Nick Ward is in the game, they just play a different style of basketball than they do with Xavier Tillman. And Nick Ward, obviously a tremendous player. He received all Big Ten honors this season, despite missing games. But when he's out on the floor, any advanced numbers will tell you Michigan State plays better. They're more efficient on offense and defense with Xavier Tillman in there. And I think we're kind of seeing that. And Xavier Tillman's more agile. He's able to stick with bigger guys like John Teskey, and he really doesn't lose. He's not losing too much in the height department there. He's able to get up and contest any shots. Nick Ward, a little bit bigger, a little harder to stick with a guy like John Teskey.
And so here we go. Both teams now out on the court. Second half about to get underway from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Big Ten championship on the line. Round 3, Michigan State versus Michigan. Michigan leads this one 31-23. Jordan Poole, Xavier Simpson, Ignas Brazdeikis, John Teskey, Charles Matthews on the court for the Wolverines, Winston, McQuaid, Goins, Tillman, and Henry for the Spartans, and Matthews now on the left wing to Simpson at the top of the key. Jordan Poole will cut to the elbow. He'll stop on the catch out to Simpson again at the top of the key, guarded by Winston. He'll use a ball screen from Teskey to get inside towards the paint, back out a little bit. Now Jordan Poole left wing, guarded by McQuaid. A couple jab steps now. He'll take him into the free throw line. Step back. Now out to Teskey for the left wing three. No good. Tillman skies for the rebound, and Winston goes the other way. Michigan State, one of the fastest teams getting up and down the court in the country. Now Winston guarded by Simpson, hedged by Teskey. Now Simpson will throw to the opposite corner. McQuaid, pump fake, step back. He'll shoot a three and get it good. Matt McQuaid has been locked in from downtown for the Spartans, his 4th three of the afternoon.
McQuaid, a knockdown shooter. He shoots that ball well over 40%. He's going to make that one more often than not.
One of the best shooters in the Big Ten Conference now. Charles Matthews left wing to John Teskey just inside the three-point line. Handoff to Xavier Simpson, guarded by Aaron Henry. Simpson now will dribble a couple times. He'll use a screen from Teskey, get inside. Hook shot blocked by Tillman, but Tillman is standing out of bounds. Wolverines will retain possession, but that's something that we noticed in the games earlier this season. Xavier Simpson, his shots do get blocked sometimes against Michigan State. Not afraid to challenge his shots.
Absolutely, and I don't know if I've seen anyone actually block his hook shot yet this season. Xavier Tillman, he's just got such a long wingspan and athleticism. He gets to anything.
And an athletic move for Tillman, no doubt. But now Jordan Poole on the other end, a handoff from Teskey. He'll take it from the three-point line. Now Jordan Poole makes score 34-26. Michigan leads it now. Tillman in the low post against John Teskey. Tillman backs him down. Teskey blocks it. Brazdeikis the rebound. And it's going to be Xavier Simpson going the other way for Michigan. Slow things down a little bit. Handoff to Iggy. Iggy drives against Goins. Backs him down now in the low post. One-on-one in the paint. Iggy turns over his right shoulder, gets the layup. No good, in and out. Now Winston going the other way. Set up the Michigan State Spartan offense. 34-26, Michigan leads it. Out to McQuaid on the shake. McQuaid, three-pointer in and out, no good. John Teskey the rebound. McQuaid, such a good shooter, cannot give him space. Now Xavier Simpson across the half-court line. Michigan State trying to get stops here to get back in the game. Iggy now right wing. He'll shoot the three, contested, but he gets it good in the money sign. Iggy absolutely locked in this entire tournament.
And here we go again, more assisted baskets here. That's going to take the team total up to 11, or rather 12. On 13 shots here, 2 for 2 in that department here so far in the second half.
Now McQuaid on the cross-court pass from Winston, no good, in and out. Simpson skying for the rebound. Michigan trying to get another run going. Simpson will slow things down. Michigan very content to set up the offensive. They're moving the ball at a high level, taking good shots. Now Simpson off the screen from Brazdeikis on the left wing, dribbling, guarded by Goins. Winston looking at Iggy inside. He'll feed him, guarded by Henry. Henry overplays him, and Iggy goes up for it, and a lot of contact from a lot of people. No call. It's going to go out of bounds. Michigan will retain possession. Did not hit the rim. 9 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, we talked about the rebounding battle being a theme from the last couple of matchups. Well, the foul battle was one as well, and Michigan was called for a lot of fouls their last matchup. Iggy Brazdeikis obviously fouled out. That was a huge part of that game. And well, so far here, the refs have been really letting them play.
Yeah, and I thought they let him play on that one, but I guess a ref from the opposite side of the court did get the foul call. So Iggy at the line for 2 free throws.
And that was a pretty clear foul.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Iggy gets the first free throw to fall. 38-26 now. Michigan leads this 17-12 remaining in the second half.
Pretty clear foul. I did not hear a whistle on that one. That was a strange play.
That's why I was confused as well. Good point, Nate. Iggy with the free throw on attempt number 2 gets it to go. That'll be point number 16 of the afternoon for Ignas Brazdeikis as Matt McQuaid brings the ball up the court for the Michigan State Spartans. He's guarded by Charles Matthews. McQuaid dribbling around, looking for a screen from Tillman, declines it, almost loses the handle. Matthews really bothering him. McQuaid will have to pass it to Winston with 14 seconds on the shot clock. Post feed inside to Tillman. Near block by John Teske, but Tillman will be going to the line. Good feed from Cassius Winston, one of the best point guards in America.
Sure was, and Teske got a lot of arm on that one. That's a clear foul, but that's right there. That's the power of Cassius Winston. He starts driving into the lane. Everyone has to commit. Tillman gets a step on Teske there because he has to come over and show some defense over to Cash Winston, or else that's going to be easy money.
Tillman does a great job rolling to the rim. Good catch as well. And he'll make the first free throw. And Tillman did sit down a lot in the first half with foul trouble. He's going to be looking to stay on the court a lot more in the second half. Michigan State's going to need him as free throw number 2 is no good. Jordan Poole boxes out the shooter and gets the rebound. Xavier Simpson now will get things going for the Michigan offense. Simpson-Winston, the battle we've seen all afternoon, twice already this season. That's the matchup guarded right now. Simpson will use a flat ball screen from Teske. He'll decline a little bit, but the switch gets John Teske at the basket. No good, too strong. Simpson gave him a good feed. Now Winston the other way for the Spartans. Guarded by Simpson. Cassius Winston dancing with a dribble out to Aaron Henry on the left wing. Back to Winston at the top of the key. Tillman sets him a ball screen. Winston reading it. Floater is in and out. Winston fell. No foul call, though. Simpson the other way out to Poole now. He'll attack downhill against Henry, but Henry strips him. So Aaron Henry now driving. Big dunk by Aaron Henry. I mean, the Red Sea open between Simpson and Iggy in transition, and Henry, an athletic player, goes up and knows what to do with it. Elevation on that one.
That's simply bad transition defense by the Wolverines. I think McQuaid and Winston were on either wing. That's why they did not commit in the paint there. But if a guy's going right towards the rim, you got to get in between.
You got to stop the ball, but Matthews on the other end. A little crossover, step in, pull-up jumper for 2 points. Michigan 41, Michigan State 29, 15-31 here in the second half. Goins now top of the key. Three-pointer rims around. Tillman, strong rebound against Jordan Poole. Gets put back. 10-point game.
Now second chance points. Something Michigan cannot allow Tillman. He is going to be a little bit fresher than most other players after sitting so much in that first half, and he is going to crash the boards hard right there. That's something Michigan can't allow.
Michigan State lives on offensive rebounds. Charles Matthews now guarded by Kenny Goins. Goins played a lot of minutes this afternoon, and Matthews with the ball. Back in his hometown of Chicago, he'll pull up against Goins. In and out, no good. Good box out by Xavier Tillman. Cassius Winston the other way for the Spartans. So now Winston on the right wing, screen from Tillman. He'll use another screen, and McQuaid with a back cut. Gets fouled down one. Got Iggy in the air on the pump fake. McQuaid fired up. 41-33. Michigan State will head to the under-16 media timeout. McQuaid will be shooting one after the break. And
Iggy's been playing defense so well this entire tournament. Really has taken a big step in that department. Right there, he just fell asleep. Lets McQuaid go right by him without the ball, and has to come over late. Gets caught by the pump fake, and that's a foul there. That's a tough play for Iggy Brazdeikis on the defensive end.
Matt McQuaid on the afternoon right now, 5 for 11 from the field, 4 of 9 from downtown. He's got 14 points. He'll be going to the free throw line for his first free throw attempt of the game, but really experienced player, one of probably the best off-ball players in the conference for sure. Does a great job moving without the basketball, and you're right, that was just experience versus youth on that particular cut. But Michigan leading this one 41-33. The assist total now up to 13 on 14 made field goals, so the Wolverines still doing a fantastic job in the ball movement category. Rebounding edge still with Michigan State at 23. Michigan has 20 rebounds, and the turnover battle being won by the Wolverines, 3 turnovers to the Spartans 6.
Yeah, and also important to note, Michigan with 8 free throws, 7 of 8 on the day, to Michigan State's 2, and that is, a huge astronomical change from that last meeting in East Lansing. I believe Cash Winston had as many free throws. I think he had 2 more free throws than Michigan shot the entire day, and that wasn't simply coming down to, a lot of times at the end of games, teams are forced to foul. That really wasn't the case. It was just simply Michigan State was getting foul calls nearly every time they went to the basket in here, and it's been a huge difference in this game.
And you're right, Tom Izzo, as you have noticed throughout your 4-year career here at Michigan, Nate is constantly working the officials on the sidelines, and it usually works, but we've seen it at both teams' home courts, now at a neutral location here in Chicago, Illinois, United Center. I'd say it's a pretty even split here in the crowd between Wolverine and Spartans fans. Pretty good crowd as well here on Selection Sunday. This is the last conference championship game that takes place before the brackets come out tonight. And, I think another thing worth keeping an eye on is that Michigan's been in the situations basically in both the games already this season. Had a lead similar to this one, not too much, but, a decent lead. And with 14-44, the Wolverines currently lead by 8 points, but they have been susceptible to second-half droughts. And that's how Michigan State's really been able to win the first 2 games, by going on second-half runs while holding the Wolverines to long stretches without a basket. And Michigan's going to have to stay methodical on offense, keep the ball skipping around, and that's what they've got to really focus on, is getting quality shots every possession.
They sure do, Lucas, and I think a big problem for them before was that they were a little too reliant on Iggy's scoring those other games. They've been very reliant on his scoring today here as well. He's got 17 of their 41 points, but based on their performance the last couple of games, I'm confident that if he does manage to cool off here in the second half, someone else can step up here, maybe someone like Isaiah Livers.
So McQuaid hits the free throw for the and one conversion. Michigan 41, Michigan State 34, 14-44 here to go in the second half. Xavier Simpson crosses half court. It's guarded by Winston once again, but now it's Charles Matthews, handoff back to Xavier Simpson, uses a screen from Isaiah Livers. Isaiah Livers guarded by Nick Ward, hands it back to Simpson, looks to roll inside. Now Xavier Simpson on the strong drive, gets tipped. Matthews comes to get it. Good defense though. Michigan State able to get the steal. So Cassius Winston goes the other way, guarded by Xavier Simpson.
Simpson may have been a little too unselfish on that one. He had a chance to lay that one in.
Yeah, a little bit too generous for Simpson. As Kyle Ahrens actually, the ball just rolled out of bounds, but it rolled right in the direction of the injured Kyle Ahrens coming out on crutches. The entire crowd does give him a standing ovation for this one. The ball is now re-inbounded for the Spartans. Cassius Winston at the top of the key, guarded by Iggy. As Aaron Henry's going to drive against Jordan Poole, and one. No, close. Aaron Henry goes up strong for the layup. Does not get the conversion, but will go to the free throw line for 2 attempts.
Right there, help defense has got to come. Isaiah Livers was down low on Nick Ward. Doesn't come over to help on Henry there, and there's no choice but to foul there, else Henry was getting an easy 2 points.
Aaron Henry, really strong drive. He's at the free throw line now. He makes the first of 2 free throws. Aaron Henry, pretty good player for what the Spartans are always looking to do. Pretty tough guard to have alongside with McQuaid and Winston. As he'll get free throw opportunity number 2 here. It's up and it is no good. Bounces on the rim a couple times. Michigan 41, Michigan State 35. We are under 14 minutes here in Chicago. So Xavier Simpson initiates the offense with a pass to Iggy on the right wing, out to Livers on the left slot. Livers will hand it off to Iggy, who will back down Aaron Henry to the right block, looking for a good angle. Iggy's going to have to pass out of it. No, he's going up with it and gets the roll in and out. Very close for Iggy, probably a little overzealous. Winston going the other way with it. Guarded by Simpson, hedged by Teskey. Now McQuaid on the right wing for the Spartans. Aaron Henry in the right corner. Nick Ward sealed down low, posting up John Teskey. Continuing to back him down, looks to turn over with a hook shot, and the hook shot is too short. Iggy with the rebound.
That's why Michigan State suffers just a little bit with Nick Ward on the floor. Post-ups are the least inefficient shot in all of basketball, especially when they end with a jump hook like that one. Michigan's going to take that one every day, every possession.
Post-up's got to be quick. Now Jordan Poole, guarded by McQuaid. Step back is good! Got McQuaid going to the rim. Step back, and Jordan Poole does what he does. What a shot! by Jordan Poole. Michigan State the other way now, guarded by Simpson. Screen from Nick Ward. John Teske with a hedge. Winston, what a pass across the court. McQuaid answers back. What a shot. What a pass by Cassius Winston.
What a pass by Winston, but again, falling asleep there by Iggy Brasdakis. He's his man. He's over on the opposite block. He just had no chance to recover by the time that pass got there.
It's an incredible pass going away from that corner. Cassius Winston, incredible vision. And now a foul is going to be called, I believe, on Nick Ward for holding as he'll walk to the bench. So the foul count now is 3 for Michigan and 2 for Michigan State. Score currently 44-38 in favor of the Wolverines. 12:25 remaining in the second half. 20 seconds on the shot clock as Xavier Simpson will inbound the ball. Iggy gets it in the right corner. Will dribble it out. Use a screen from Teske and then kick it out to Jordan Poole near the logo. Now Jordan Poole guarded by McQuaid will pull up and he gets blocked by McQuaid. McQuaid, one of the best defenders as well in this conference. Ill-advised shot for Jordan Poole, and now Winston all the way to the rim and one!
Well, here comes the run you're talking about in the second half. That basket right there cuts it to a 4-point lead for the Wolverines. Cash Winston, nearly automatic from the line. I'm sure he's going to make this into a 3-point game. And then what starts it there, though, is the bad offense by Jordan Poole, and he's going to get the quick hook here from John Beilein. Eli Brooks will come in relief, but that is a shot right there that just can't happen from way deep with no off or movement. That's a bad shot.
Winston converting the free throw. You're right. Ill-advised shot. McQuaid slaps the floor. You know what that means. Xavier Simpson now guarded by Cassius Winston. We got a good one here. 44-41. The Wolverines currently lead things with 11:55 remaining. Xavier Simpson commanding the offense, guarded by Winston. Uses a screen from Teske. Throw back to Eli Brooks, guarded by McQuaid. Eli Brooks drives baseline, nothing there. He's gonna have to back it out, guarded by McQuaid. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Eli Brooks, another drive against Tillman. Gets him in the air, and the layup conversion. Eli Brooks, what a take and what a pump fake.
With the Rondo move right there, the fake with the offhand gets Tillman up in the air with the easy layup.
Now Winston, shake pass to Aaron Henry. Too strong off the back iron, but Tillman gets the rebound, and he'll be fouled on the floor. Xavier Tillman, known for crashing the offensive glass very hard. And after the foul, we'll head to immediate timeout. 11:23 remaining in this ball game. 46-41, Michigan Wolverines currently lead things. And you know, this is about as good of a game as you could ask for right now. Both teams playing at a high level. Michigan does lead it by 5, but you can tell that as soon as one team starts to make some mistakes, this thing could get blown open.
Yeah, Lucas, it sure could. And right now, Michigan State really finding success on the offensive end. Before that missed shot, an offensive rebound, they were for their last 5, or had made 4 of their last 5 field goals. And a lot of that's got to do with they've had open shooters. Matt McQuaid's been open, and a lot of that has to do with Michigan having to commit so many defenders. They have pretty much everyone's eyes are on Cash Winston whenever the pick and roll starts, and that, that's very necessary. Cash Winston's so good in the pick and roll. That's their bread and butter. But once you start paying too much attention, you cannot leave these good shooters open. Matt McQuaid's going to make you pay.
Yeah, Cassius Winston, I mean, he's had a phenomenal Big Ten tournament here, and he's really had some nice passes here lately. Whether the shot's gone in or not, he has had some tremendous feeds to his teammates. On the other end for Michigan, Eli Brooks checking into the game, probably to give Jordan Poole somewhat of a break, and then also to, I think they have found that if they can talk to him after a bad shot, the issue usually doesn't conflate. So they usually sub him after those games. He gets back in and usually does all right. But Eli Brooks, with the shot clock winding down, I mean, dribbling into the paint, and Michigan State's got some big boys. Xavier Tillman, one of those bodies, getting him in the air and then using the rim almost as a protector against the shot blocker, finishing it, that was something.
That's a savvy move, and that's a play you do not see, or you would not see Eli Brooks make in the regular season. He looks like a completely transformed player here in the Big Ten tournament. I don't know where this newfound confidence and aggression has come from, but it has done so much for this Michigan team.
Eli Brooks is a guy that we have talked to quite a bit in the last 2 days in the locker room following the Michigan games. And the first thing we asked him when we saw him was, how do you stay ready being on the bench for long stretches this season? You know, when your numbers call, how do you stay ready? And he says, that he eats his Gatorade energy chews before the game. So that's kind of his trademark thing now for me. But then also, you know, he said that the coaches have stayed confident in him, that they've put him on the scout team, and he has really flourished in that role almost at practice, and that's helped him gain a lot of confidence back as well. But he feels good running the show when he's asked to do it. Did a lot of that last night against Minnesota, and you know, he's the one that made the comment that when we share the ball, we win games, and that's what he's looking to continue to do, as him and Simpson are on the court together coming out of the timeout, along with Ignas Brazdeikis, Isaiah Livers, and John Teskey. So here we go. Play will get back underway. Michigan State inbounding the ball. McQuaid will inbound it to Tillman at the top of the key. Dribble handoff to Cassius Winston. Strong hedge by Teskey, and Goins will come on the shake. 3 is no good. He was really locked in from downtown yesterday against Wisconsin. Hasn't had the same success today. Now Xavier Simpson guarded by Winston on the left wing for Michigan. He'll pull it back out around the logo. 20 seconds on the shot clock for Michigan. Xavier Simpson will look to get downhill. Now it will reverse the ball all the way to Iggy on the left wing. Isaiah Livers chased into a ball screen. Iggy now guarded by Kenny Goins. Iggy will pull up for 3, and way too strong on that one. Another ill-advised shot for the Wolverines. Not going to survive with those kind of looks. As Cassius Winston sets up the offense for the Spartans. Guarded by Simpson now. Looking at a horn set. Teskey will hedge once again. Now cross-court pass. 2 people run at McQuaid. He still converts. Matt McQuaid is dialed in from downtown. Michigan 46, Michigan State 44, 10-20 remain in the second half.
Well, I can't really blame the contest on that one. Eli Brooks and Brazdeikis both got a good contest in there on McQuaid. He just simply rises up above him and hits it, and that's another absolutely beautiful dime by Cash Winston.
And Michigan, usually on their ball screen defense, will have the big guarding the screener hedge, and they'll have the defender on the opposite corner of the screen sag in to take away the potential post entry. That usually leaves a shooter in the opposite corner. Very difficult pass to make, usually takes quite a bit of airtime as well, so defender has time to close out. But Cassius Winston looking like a mailman out there, delivering packages to McQuaid in the corner, and McQuaid is knocking shots down right now. Yeah, 6 for 11 from downtown for Matt McQuaid tonight.
Michigan, with that different pick and roll coverage, that's been part of the problem, is that they have the switch come. Teskey has to commit to Winston, and then Xavier comes over and tries to switch it back right away. In the meantime, the roll man is left open unless the help defense is covering him. That has been Iggy Brazdeikis. He has to come over, help on that roll man, and that's Matt McQuaid's man. That means there's no one covering McQuaid open in the corner. This pick and roll coverage has been a lot better than the hedge defense Michigan tried in their first matchup in Chrysler. It's tough to say they should move away from it, but it looks like MSU has identified a fatal flaw and have been exploiting it to great success here in the second half.
Well, I think the coverage is not necessarily the problem. It's that Winston is throwing these passes on a string, and McQuaid is so locked in right now that, you know, if he gets any sort of space, even a sliver of space, he is putting the ball in the basket right now on a catch and shoot look. He's so good at getting in rhythm, and that's really where he's had success. Also, Michigan State seems like they've had a little bit of an emotional lift since Kyle Ahrens returned to the bench, albeit in crutches, but he's there supporting his team, and Spartans have fed off that emotion right now.
Yeah, they sure seem to, and he's been very involved. He's in the huddle right now, involved with the team. You know, sitting there on the bench, it's got to mean a whole lot. The energy in this building when he went down was really terrible. I think this is the only way to put it. And you see that happen a lot, like Karis LeVert's injury for the Nets. Same thing happened to Gordon Hayward when opening game of the season 2 years ago in the NBA, Cavs Celtics, and the atmosphere in that game, it couldn't be more draining. You could feel that here again today. It's something about when you see that devastating of an injury, it really puts things into perspective here. But to see him up on his feet again, really got to lift the spirits. MSU's playing like it has.
And so Michigan State, after they hit their last three, the Wolverines called timeout. Talk things over, maybe try and take a little air out of the ball from McQuaid. But there's a lot of fans displeased with how open Matt McQuaid has been. You see the adjustments Michigan makes as they take the court on offense right now. John Teske around the left elbow, guarded by Tillman. He'll hand off to Simpson, coming around a screen, try and weasel his way in, cannot do so. Isaiah Livers now on the three-point line. Post-entry pass. Looked like he was going up for a shot. I don't think Teske really knew what he was doing. And that's going to be another turnover for the Wolverines.
And it looks like Beeline's trying to argue that it went out on MSU there to the ref, but it was tough to say there. And yeah, that Teske had Winston on him in the post. That ball's got to go to him right away. Livers couldn't decide if he wanted to shoot it or pass it. That leads to a turnover. He got to be more decisive.
Now Michigan State on a little loop set, gets Winston open, and Winston too strong on the three. Good look for Cassius Winston, capable of knocking that shot down. Rebound to Teske, and now Xavier Simpson will get things started for Michigan on offense. Iggy now in the corner will drive against Aaron Henry. Nothing there though, but he does find Teske, and Teske blows the dunk. Or does he? He bounces in.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and John Teske had a lot of luck going for him right there.
Now McQuaid on the right wing off the shake pass from Winston. Back to Winston now, top of the key. Denies a screen from Tillman. Will now use it on the rescreen. He got Iggy on his back. Tries to lob over for Tillman. Teske snatches it out of the air. Like stealing cookies from a jar. Now Iggy will cross half court for the Wolverines. Xavier Simpson. As we're now under 9 minutes in this ball game, 15 seconds on the shot clock for the Wolverines. Xavier Simpson, handoff to Ignas Brazdeikis. He'll reverse the ball to Isaiah Livers in the left slot. Screen from Teske. Now Livers guarded by Tillman, nothing to do. Now Simpson driving against Winston, will go up. Winston blocks him. Shot clock violation on the block. No transition for Michigan State, but what a block by Cassius Winston. Those two have been going at it all season and all afternoon here, continuing phenomenal matchup.
Yeah, well, Simpson has the patented hook shot. He can really only use it with the right hand, though, and right there he's driving to his left, has to go up with the right. That leaves the ball exposed to getting blocked right there, even by a guy as short as Cash Winston.
So Teske leaving the ball game for Michigan. Michigan's going to go very small right now. Isaiah Livers will be the de facto 5 right now as Michigan State opens things up in a horn set. Isaiah Livers on the hedge, throwback to Kenny Goins. Great rotation by Livers to get back, denying the post feed to Tillman. Now Iggy in transition, pulls it out, but he'll pull up for 3. Way too strong, another ill-advised shot. And Michigan State gets another opportunity to go the other way, 48-44. Michigan leads things with 8:15 to go. Cassius Winston dribbles into a hedge off a ball screen. Now he's guarded by Charles Matthews. Matthews blocks him, but Tillman collects, finishes and 1. Xavier Tillman will be headed to the free throw line, able to collect. It was actually a pass from Cassius Winston. Winston under control enough to find him. And Xavier Tillman been on the court a lot more here in the second half and been a lot more effective.
Well, Lucas, you talked about what happens when Michigan starts losing some of that scoring. If they go in a drought, things could change here. And, well, that's kind of started to happen here. Iggy Brazdeikis, they've been a little reliant on him here. He's starting to cool off. And that's what I said. Who's gonna step it up? Who's gonna pick up the slack here? Once he starts to go cold, someone has to make a big shot here. That's not Iggy Brazdeikis.
Tillman misses the free throw. Iggy does get the rebound. Michigan offense will get underway. We're at 15 seconds on the shot clock. Isaiah Livers in the left short corner, guarded by Kenny Goins. We'll get him up in the air. Pump fake, no good. Short. Ball movement has really become stagnant now for Michigan. It's going to be a problem if they don't get the ball moving.
Yeah, that's a bad shot right there in the post. Pull up with a bigger guy on you. That's a terrible shot for Michigan.
And now Aaron Henry dribbles it out. Cash Winston eventually gets it back at the top of the key. He'll be guarded by Ignas Brazdeikis one-on-one. Now Winston on the left wing, still guarded by Iggy. Will use a screen from Tillman. Now he's guarded by Livers. Little shake and bake dribble. Shot clock winding down. The layup gets it to go. Tie game. 48-all. 7:15 to go in the game. Cassius Winston just too good to be guarded by a big man.
Yeah, Cash hunted for that mismatch. He got it, and Livers did about as good of a job as you can do. Winston is just too good on that one.
Michigan State with momentum. Matthews dribbles inside. Again, the ball has stopped moving here. It's Jordan Poole now with it. Near half court. Top of the key, guarded by Goins.
No.
He'll pull up, and bank shot is no good. Too strong, in and out.
Terrible shot there again. No ball movement. Things look night and day on offense from the first half to the second half here.
Michigan.
And even from either end of the court. MSU's ball movement has stayed beautiful, while Michigan has just stopped moving it at all.
Michigan falling into the same two traps as they did in the matchups in the regular season. Now Kenny Goins with it. Left slot back to Winston at the top of the key, guarded by Matthews. He'll drive in strong. Layup no good, but Tillman collects the rebound. And they're going to check the shot clock. They reset the shot clock, but I don't think Winston got rim on his layup attempt, so we'll have a stoppage of play. Michigan's got to collect themselves here, so we'll actually head to the under 8 timeout with that stoppage. They've got to get the ball skipping once again. The assist total is at 14. It was at 10 at halftime, so only 4 assists so far here in the second half. They crossed 20 in each of the first 2 games here at the Big Ten tournament, and as a result, only 17 made shots on 42 shot attempts for Michigan. Shot very well in the first half, not so much here in the second half.
Very, very puzzling to see the team go away from what's made them so successful here. Even as recently as the first half of this game, you'd think they'd want to stick to that same formula that has been proven, but so far here it looks like they're kind of lost their offensive identity.
0 points in the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds for the Michigan Wolverines as things are all tied up now, 48-48. 6 minutes and 18 seconds to go here at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois for the Big Ten championship game. Michigan State defeating Michigan each time in the regular season, and the games have gone in similar fashion to the one we're seeing right now, where Michigan starts off looking strong, gets out to a pretty solid single-digit lead, and then eventually Michigan State finds ways to trap Michigan into one-on-one offense, bad shot selection, and Michigan State stays true to who they are, clawing back into the game, eventually taking it over. We'll see what holds out here in the final 6:18, but Michigan's got to get back to moving the basketball.
And they do, and we don't know what's going on in that huddle, but you got to think John Beeline's pulling his hair out, imploring these guys to get that ball moving again.
And at this time, the last 2 games against Iowa and Minnesota, we'd almost basically seen the entire bench play for Michigan, but not the case here. Their first truly competitive game of the Big Ten tournament. Michigan State has had comfortable leads in each of their first 2 games against Ohio State and Wisconsin, but a little bit more competitive at times. And we'll see if fatigue or comfort plays an issue. I don't think it should, because each of these teams have won pretty comfortably in their previous matchups, so each team should be pretty well rested, and it's going to be about who wants it more now in the last 6 minutes and 18 seconds.
And I don't know how Michigan's going to come out here and try to attack on the offensive end, but I would like to see Xavier Simpson driving into the paint and kicking out. I feel like that's where they've had the most success, and they've done an okay job from the 3-point line. Iggy's really been the one carrying the load there from behind the arc, but I would like to see Xavier Simpson getting in there, getting the paint, looking outside for maybe Isaiah Livers. He's only taken 1 3 so far here today. He's been absolutely locked in from behind the arc this entire tournament. His last couple of shots have come in isolation. They haven't been very good in the mid-range. I'd like to see him get a shot from out there to get him going here, maybe jumpstart this Michigan offense.
Yeah, Isaiah and Jordan were joking about who's a better shooter last night after the game in the locker room, but Isaiah Livers needs to be prodded to take some more shots. Michigan's got to get a piece of the paint and look for some kickouts, get that ball swinging around the arc. As Michigan State will inbound with 6:18 remaining here in the ball game. Matt McQuaid comes out with it, has some space, he'll fire away, too short. Jordan Poole goes up and gets the rebound. Michigan's getting out and running. John Teske in transition. Ignis Brazdeikis, big dunk! In transition, he ran the court properly. Good feed from John Teske. And Michigan back in front, 50-48. Now Cassius Winston, guarded by Simpson. We're in for a final 6 minutes that's sure to entertain here in Chicago. Winston uses a flat ball screen from Xavier Tillman. He'll fend off Simpson from stealing the ball, get the ball back after passing it to Goins. Now he'll look to drive once again on the shake pass to Goins. Post entry to Tillman, who will try to turn around. John Teskey, great defense. Tillman, no good. Rebound by John Teskey. Xavier Simpson now will walk the ball up the court for Michigan.
Excellent defense by Michigan there. It looks like their adjustment has been to maybe kind of let the roll man try to beat them.
And Xavier Simpson, what a lob inside. John Teskey catches it and finishes. Some false action with Isaiah Livers on a flat ball screen. And Simpson lobbing it up. Timeout, Michigan State. Michigan 52, Michigan State 48. 5:16 to go. How a minute can change things in basketball. Wow.
And it started on the defensive end by Michigan and then pushing things up in transition. But right there, Michigan State goes back to their bread and butter, the pick and roll. It cannot get anything going because Michigan really has kind of let Tillman get the ball in the post, and then I dared him to go at John Teskey. That's a matchup Michigan would take, certainly over Matt McQuaid getting an open shot in a corner.
And we come out of the last timeout with Michigan 2 assists on 2 more baskets for 4 more points, and even more so something we talked about coming out of halftime. John Teskey finishing around the rim. He catches a great lob from Xavier Simpson, who looked like he was going to be coming up off a flat ball screen from Isaiah Livers. Instead, just flicks it inside. Teskey catches it, doesn't hit the ground, and just lays it in, carries the ball into the basket.
I've been talking about Michigan falling asleep on the defensive end. Well, right there, it looked like Livers was coming down, setting a screen on Teskey, which I mean, right there should probably draw a red flag from the Spartan defense. I don't know how many times Michigan's ran that kind of action. Well, they sold out to make sure Teskey couldn't come up to do what, I'm not sure, and then left him all alone underneath the basket.
And so here we go out of the timeout. Matt McQuaid at half court, guarded by Jordan Poole. Kick ball now out of bounds. Good defense by Jordan Poole. 20 seconds on the shot clock. And that was actually Jordan Poole on the false screen, not Isaiah Livers. They do share the hair.
It's tough to tell sometimes. That's not as hard as it's hard calling women's basketball games and telling the difference between Kayla Robbins and well, now I can't think of
Haley Brown.
Haley Brown, yes.
Not so hard if you look at their hair. So now Cassius Winston turns it over. Oh, they're going to call foul. A little slap on the arm. Was it there or was it not? Some mixed results based on who you're cheering for here, but that's going to be Michigan's 7th foul of the afternoon. Michigan State only has 2 fouls so far, so your point earlier coming to fruition a little bit, but Cassius Winston will head to the free throw line now for a 1-and-1. And what could have been a turnover instead could result in Michigan State points with the clock stopped here with 5 minutes. As Winston gets the first of the 1-and-1, 52-49 now. Michigan leads it. Winston will get opportunity number 2. That is going to be foul number 3 on John Teskey. Nobody else really in any kind of foul trouble. Cassius Winston gets the second free throw to go as well. 52-50 now. We are under 5 minutes here in Chicago.
And Michigan still without a free throw attempt in this half. It'll be interesting to see how that plays a factor here.
Hard to do it with only 2 fouls called against you. Xavier Simpson now against Cassius Winston. Drives inside. Kick out to Iggy Brazdakis. From the paint to the three-point line. No good. Winston gets the ball now.
Yeah, that's a tough one to see missed there, but good work by the Michigan team to get that shot.
Quickly up the court. The floater is no good. And Goins doesn't know what to do with it, so he just throws it. Jordan Poole the other way. Gets fouled. Late call, but they do give it to him. Kenny Goins got the offensive rebound off the missed floater from Cassius Winston. Took 2 steps and had to jump and just kind of toss it. Did not know what to do with it. But Jordan Poole in the right place at the right time, going the other way. Matt McQuaid commits the foul on the other end for Michigan State. Going to be their 3rd foul of the half. And Jordan Poole will be at the free throw line for 2 free throws.
My goodness, was I worried they were not going to call a foul on that one.
Very late call, but the officials do get the whistle.
And I'm actually looking at the replay. I can understand why it's a late whistle because McQuaid did go up straight in the air. I don't think there was a lot of contact on the shot. It was after the ball went up, kind of took away the landing space for Jordan Poole.
Very close, but that does bring the foul disparity a little bit closer here. As Jordan Poole hits the first free throw, 53-50 now. Michigan leads it. 4:26 remaining in the ball game. Poole for the second free throw. Goes in and out. Goins the rebound. Now Winston the other way. Michigan leads by 3. Cassius Winston now guarded by Simpson. Weighs off a screen from his teammates, and now we'll get a guard-to-guard screen to get switched on to Jordan Poole. Now we'll use a ball screen from Xavier Tillman. He'll fend off. Jordan Poole get in the air, out to Goins in the right corner, back to Winston now on the right wing. Hedged by John Teske. Winston using a lot of energy dribbling the ball. He gets to the rim and finishes the layup.
Great work by Jordan Poole there, but you see why Cash Winston fought hard to get that matchup. He's not quite the defender Xavier Simpson is.
Jordan Poole, good cut, gets fouled. Good pass inside by Xavier Simpson while Nate was breaking down the previous play. Jordan Poole comes off a screen to the opposite block. Simpson finding him. Good pump fake for Poole, and he'll be going back to the free throw line. 53-52. We are in the final media timeout now with 3:43 remaining in the ball game. Heck of a game so far, Nate.
Sure is, and that was McQuaid's third foul. Still hard to call that foul trouble with so little time left in the game, but those last two fouls came in short order. If Michigan could manage to get another foul on him here, maybe force him out of the game, that'd be a big advantage for the Wolverines. So far he's been really carrying the load for Michigan State on the offensive end. I mean, obviously everything goes through Cash Winston, but the ball's been going to McQuaid. He's been making Michigan pay, and really there have not been their other shooters have not really done well this game. And Ahrens, obviously out of this one, he's another guy that can make you pay from the long line, but Goins has not really had it today. He still hasn't scored yet this game. 0 for 4 from behind the arc. If Michigan State loses a shooter here, they could be in trouble on the offensive end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. With 3:43 left, it'll be hard to justify taking a guy like McQuaid that you can probably trust with so much experience out of the ball game. But no doubt Michigan should try and go at him for at least the very reason of just drawing some more fouls. Matt McQuaid has 3 fouls. John Teske has 3 fouls. But you figure the lineups that we're seeing on the court right now coming out of this timeout will probably be the lineups the rest of the way, unless we have like a specialty situation towards the end. But Nick Ward not played a lot here since he went off the court the last time, and similar to him not being there at all against Michigan in the first 2 games. And I think Charles Matthews has been in and out as well here for Michigan. He didn't play the second game against Michigan State in East Lansing.
Yeah, still hasn't quite looked himself. I mean, he played an excellent game on the defensive end yesterday against Minnesota, but still his offensive production just wasn't there, and it looks like the same case here today. It's hard to have him out on the floor when his offensive game looks this rusty when Isaiah Livers has had such an outstanding tournament.
So scoring-wise, Ignas Brazdeikis has 19 points, 6 of 12 shooting, 4 of 8 from deep. Matt McQuaid, 21 points for the Spartans on 7 of 14 shooting, 6 of 12 from deep. Each of those two had an outstanding ball game here. Cassius Winston, 12 points, 9 assists, 3 rebounds as well. Xavier Simpson, 4 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. Each of those guys locked in quite the chess match against each other. They know each other pretty well after the years of playing one another. Jordan Poole has 11 points, 3 of 9 shooting, also 2 assists and 3 rebounds. And yeah, as you mentioned, Kenny Goins, no points. Xavier Tillman, 7 points and 11 rebounds. He's been able to stay on the court here in the second half. No more fouls since halftime.
Now, as the huddles are breaking here, it's going to be, I don't know where the Michigan offense is going to keep coming from. Iggy Brazdeikis did get that open dunk there in transition a couple minutes ago, but he has cooled off significantly. They've looked to get more guys involved here. They've been playing more team offense the last couple of minutes, but once you get down these late game situations, you almost need a guy to be your go-to scorer to play through. I'm not sure if they're going to stick with Jordan Poole here as they have the last couple of possessions, or try to get it back in the hands of Iggy Brazdeikis.
Jordan Poole, first free throw is good. He'll be joined out of the timeout by Teske, Iggy, Charles Matthews and Xavier Simpson. For the Spartans, it's going to be Cassius Winston, Matt McQuaid, Aaron Henry, Kenny Goins, and Xavier Tillman. As Jordan Poole winds up for free throw number 2, and he gets that one to go. 55-52. Wolverines lead it. 3:43 remaining in the ball game. In for an exciting finish here. Matt McQuaid dribbles it and dumps it to Winston, who denies the ball screen, looking to get into the rim. He's guarded by John Teskey right now. He'll dribble him out now to the three-point line. Liking this switch, don't expect a screen to come. He'll take that one-on-one. Step back three, no good. And the rebound is fought for and won by Jordan Poole. Great toughness by the sophomore from Milwaukee. Xavier Simpson now crosses half court.
That's a big-time, game-changing play there from Jordan Poole. My goodness, going up against a bigger guy just out-wills him.
And now Xavier Simpson takes Winston one-on-one and finishes at the rim. What a take for Xavier Simpson. Now Winston trying to drive against him on the other end. Back to Tillman. Hands it off back to Winston. Winston guarded by Simpson. They'll slow down things a little bit. Michigan now 57, Michigan State 52, 2:50 to play here in the ballgame. Cassius Winston, throw back to Matt McQuaid is open, gets him in the air, and Jordan Poole will bump into him. And they'll call it a shooting foul. So Matt McQuaid will be going to the free throw line for 3 free throws. A very veteran savvy move. It's a guy that's been here a long time. Michigan's arguing for it to be called on the floor and to be a one-on-one, but the officials are going to give Matt McQuaid 3 free throws, an outstanding free throw shooter in his own right. So Michigan State has a chance to get 3 the easy way and cut this 5-point deficit potentially to 2 with 2:45 remaining in this ball game. Michigan does lead at 57 to the Spartans 52.
I don't know how you can justify that as a shooting foul. He was clearly not in the shooting motion when the contact happened. He threw the ball up in the air.
McQuaid cashes in on the first free throw. It's the James Harden effect that's taken over officiating. So now McQuaid for free throw number 2, and he gets that one to go as well. 57-54 now in the second half here. As Matthews will actually check out of the game, Isaiah Livers will sub in. Maybe we'll see some offense for defense here down the stretch. McQuaid for free throw number 3, and he gets that one to go. So McQuaid converts all 3 free throws. He's now up to 24 points on the afternoon. Phenomenal game. This guy wants it. Slaps the floor, McQuaid. It's that time of the night.
Goins and Henry join him.
Xavier Simpson guarded by Winston. On the ball screen from John Teskey. He'll flick it back to Isaiah Livers, who will go for 3. Gets it good! What a shot by Isaiah Livers. Great shake pass by Xavier Simpson.
What we were talking about earlier, some guys need to step up, make plays. Isaiah Livers needs to be more aggressive out there, and he shows his aggression right there and makes a huge play.
And a deflection by Jordan Poole into the hands of Matt McQuaid. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Cassius Winston guarded by Poole. We'll use a screen from Xavier Tillman. He'll weasel his way. McQuaid for 3 now, and he gets it! Oh my goodness! What a game in Chicago. Matt McQuaid, 27 points, 7 for 13 from downtown. It's too late to change my all Big Ten tournament ballot, but my goodness. Wow.
And I don't know how many threes McQuaid needs to make before Michigan just decides to keep on him at all times.
Michigan State so good at using a ball screen and throwing the shake pass. I mean, if McQuaid is going to be there, and he is so good at moving without the ball as well, but my goodness, this has got to be some sort of career day for him. The senior from Duncanville, Texas, outstanding game for him. Michigan still leads this ball game 60-58. Pair of threes for each team. Keeps it at a 2-point game with 2 minutes and 1 second remaining. 1 timeout remaining for Michigan State, 2 timeouts remaining for Michigan. And we're locked in for a fun 2 minutes here, Nate. Wow.
And trying to find the career high for Matt McQuaid. I know no one has scored 30 points in a game for the Spartans since last year. Miles Bridges did it.
So Jordan Poole will now inbound the ball to Xavier Simpson. He will walk the ball up the court for Michigan. We are under 2 minutes. Xavier Simpson guarded by Cassius Winston. The crowd is on its feet. Out to Teskey, back to Simpson now. Simpson guarded by Winston, looking to get a piece of the paint. He does not do so. He turns it down. Dribbles back out, 11 seconds on the shot clock. Now Xavier Simpson guarded by Winston still. He'll go into the paint. Now out to Jordan Poole for three. Too short. Winston gets the ball back off the rebound from Kenny Goins. High tension in the air here in Chicago. Winston guarded by Simpson. He used a ball screen from Tillman. Lob it up. Tillman comes down strong with it and is able to finish. We got a tie game here. Great pass and catch from Winston to Tillman. Xavier Simpson going to dribble over and call timeout. Michigan has one after this one. 1:10 remaining, 60-60. Couple possessions left for each team. We're in for a heck of a finish here. My goodness, Nate, you got your exciting game.
Oh my! I asked for it. I'd take an unexciting game right now if it meant Michigan was leading. But man, oh man, I got to enjoy this game here. A minute and 10 left. What matters most right now is clock management. I'd like to see Michigan come out here, use as much of the shot clock as they can, kind of set up a 2-for-1 scenario here, just in case they do miss the basket.
Yeah, this is a crucial timeout here. Michigan will have the ball coming out of the timeout. Each team has a timeout left. Michigan has 8 team fouls. Michigan State only has 4. So the Spartans do have some fouling flexibility down the stretch here, but 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining here, and it is a 60-60 ball game. It's been a slugfest this entire second half, one team answering the other continuously. Nobody's able to separate themselves, and I mean, it's going to be who executes here down the stretch, and this one, third time these teams have played, and this one will decide another Big Ten championship.
And, well, can't have a bigger moment to shine in right now. Who wants it?
Michigan State and Michigan played last year in the Big Ten tournament in the semifinal round. Michigan won that game. And in 2014, Michigan State defeated Michigan for the Big Ten championship. We're in for an exciting last minute and 10 seconds here in Chicago as Jordan Poole will inbound the ball to Xavier Simpson. Back to Poole now, guarded by McQuaid. Handoff to Livers on the left wing. Livers guarded by Goins, now to Iggy Brazdakis, guarded by Aaron Henry. Reverse the ball to Isaiah Livers, back across the slot to Iggy. Teskey rolls inside. Xavier Simpson from the corner for three. Too strong. Teskey gets a hand on it, and it's going to go out of bounds. Michigan State ball now. 51.5 seconds remain in this ball game. Xavier Simpson got the open look, but unable to put the ball down. And now Michigan State will get a chance to take the lead for the first time in a while. Cassius Winston guarded by Simpson. Comes off a screen from McQuaid, tries to put Simpson in a trap, almost loses the ball, so he'll dribble out and reset. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Waiting is a screen from Tillman. He will use it, and now Teskey runs with him to the rim, gets the hand on it, rolls in! Cassius Winston gets the roll! 29 seconds left.
That looks like that might have been basket interference there. I thought Tillman tipped the ball in.
Michigan State 62, Michigan 60. No shot clock here as Iggy, guarded by Tillman, will drive inside. Opposite hand, no good. The rebound deflected out of bounds by Michigan State. They'll take a look. I thought it was off the Spartans, but they're going to take a look. They can do so under 2 minutes here. 13 seconds on the game clock. Michigan State leads it 62-60.
Seeing the replay here, Teskey had it at first, and then it does look like Tillman punches it out of his hands, out of bounds.
A bit of an impromptu timeout. Each team still does have one timeout remaining at their disposal, but this is as intense of a situation as Michigan has been in all season long.
And seems pretty clear cut to me. It should be Michigan ball here, taking it out on the baseline with 13 to go. You know, these situations do take longer than you would think sometimes. They got to check to make sure the clock is right. And it looks like the ball hits the floor at 13.2 on the clock. And I don't know. It looks like it's one of those things where you're watching the play. You see Tillman's the one that forces the ball in that direction, but Teskey's finger just lingers on it. That's one of those earlier on in the game, you're just using your common sense. You're going to say that ball's out on Tillman. Even though the ball technically may have been touching Teskey's fingertips last.
Very, very close, very hard to tell. As close to a 50-50 call as it'll get.
And
we'll see what the call is coming out of the review.
And this
pretty inconclusive on our end, but
and this is and this call couldn't be more couldn't be bigger. Couldn't mean more right now. This is the game right here. Or it could be.
This is a big one for sure. This call will have a lot of implications. They do put 0.3 seconds left on the shot clock, and they do give it to Michigan State. So Michigan State will inbound the ball with 13.3 seconds on the Michigan baseline. Michigan is going to have to foul rather quickly for a chance at getting the ball back. It would be recommended, but very difficult, that they do not foul Cassius Winston or Matt McQuaid.
Winston and McQuaid both shooting over 80%.
It's going to be really hard to avoid doing that.
Yeah, and there's no bad option here for the Spartans. Tillman shooting 73%, Goins 74%. Aaron Henry, if he is on the floor here, he's going to be inbounding. He shoots the worst of the 5 starters at 67%, but of the 4 options for MSU right now, any of them can do a just fine job at the line.
So Henry will inbounds. As you mentioned, Michigan State comes out in somewhat of an I formation here, all stacked near midcourt. A lot of different ways they can run with this. Likely to get the ball into either Winston or McQuaid. Michigan does a good job denying. That's a timeout call, very close to a 5-second call. Good denial defense by Michigan. And Michigan State will use their last timeout to draw something else up for the press break, but great job denying an inbounds pass. Force the Spartans to use the one last timeout. They're going to have to do it one more time, though, if they want another possession without giving Michigan State some free throws.
Tremendous defense there by Michigan. They switched everything. Great job by Livers. Of course, the first option is to get it to Cash Winston. They screen for him. Livers switches onto him and sticks to him like glue there. That's a heck of a play to force the timeout.
So a lot of emotion in this game for each team. They clearly do not like each other. Playing for the 3rd time this season. Another Big Ten championship at stake. Michigan State was able to win a share of the regular season title in East Lansing. Now for the tournament title here in Chicago. And Michigan State currently leading 62-60 and getting the call out of bounds. Iggy should try to drive inside, throw up a floater. It was no good. Teske couldn't get the rebound, and his hand was the last one to touch it when it went out of bounds. So Michigan State gets the inbounds pass. Cassius Winston has been phenomenal here in the second half. He's now at 14 points and 11 assists. Matt McQuaid has 27 points on the afternoon for the Spartans, and Michigan's going to have to play denial defense once again. Kenny Goins is going to inbound this time for the Spartans. Aaron Henry is going to be camped out basically next to Tom Izzo on the sidelines as sort of a deep outlet option. And Michigan State nearly doesn't get it in, and they do get it into Aaron Henry. Matthews gets the foul. That's the guy you want going to the free throw line if you're Michigan. So the Wolverines able to avoid fouling Winston or McQuaid. It's 1-1 at the free throw line. That is the 9th team foul for the Wolverines. Aaron Henry, high stakes here at the line.
Beeline's talking to the officials there. That seemed like an awful long 5 seconds.
Half a second. But
4.5 seconds, sure.
Lay a 13.3 on, right?
Oh, no, I'm not saying. I'm saying before the ball was inbounded. I could have swore that was going to be a 5-second
very close
violation.
Call. Very close call. Yes, you're right. That was as close as it gets on the 5-second call. Michigan State will not fill the lane. It'll be Aaron Henry on the first of the 1-1, and it is good. Bounces in and out, but rolls back in. 63-60 now, Michigan State. So now it's going to be Aaron Henry.
This one could all but seal it.
Free throw attempt number 2 is short. Teske grabs the rebound. Michigan, 1 possession. 10 seconds now on the clock. Jordan Poole fouled by Cassius Winston. Very smart play, as Michigan State has so many fouls to give.
And we're going to see them do that 3 or 2 more times here, I imagine.
Yeah, Michigan State will do their best to foul, because why not? When you haven't been called fouls all second half, now you have 2 fouls to give. Worst case scenario is in the bonus, Michigan would be shooting 1-1, and you're up by 3 with 9 seconds.
And
so it's almost going to be not only inbound game, but keep away game from Michigan State player. It's going to be really hard to get a good shooter open too.
Especially with the clock.
Michigan does have a timeout left.
And
Jordan Poole, no good on the floater from half court. Does not get it to go. Foul on the rebound with 2.3 seconds left.
And Cash Winston just grabbed Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole expected the foul to come, so he just threw it up, hoping to draw a shooting foul, and I don't know how they don't call that a foul. Cash Winston slapped down on Jordan Poole's arm with both hands. That is a foul.
That is almost as inexplicable as it gets. Do not understand. The refs know that Michigan State's basically trying to foul. I'm not sure how that one gets missed. And now Kenny Goins will be at the free throw line for 2. He'll make the first one, and that'll just about seal it here. Michigan State leads 64-60 with 2.3 seconds remaining. I am as lost as you are, Nate, on that.
Good grief, it's hard.
And Goins will get the second one to go, 65-60, 2.3 seconds left. That will just about do it here. Isaiah Livers will inbound the ball to Poole. It'll go out of bounds off Poole. 0.9 seconds. Michigan State will inbound one more time. The Spartan faithful are here on their feet, applauding what will be a Big Ten regular season championship and now a Big Ten tournament title as well. Tough way to go down for the Michigan Wolverines. Looked so dominant in their first 2 games. Played as well as they could all game, but one stretch in the second half lets Michigan State come back in it, and this review is a waste of time. They're going to take a look at the time on the clock, but it's impossible to score 5 points in under 1 second.
And it's hard to blame this on anyone but the team here. It's they had the lead at the half. They had it with 10 minutes to go here. They just couldn't close it out, but that call right there, I don't know how an official could justify that decision.
That was, like I said, as inexplicable as it gets from a officiating perspective. There's going to be plenty of outrage over that one. Both these teams have the capability to go very deep into March. Michigan State will be your Big Ten tournament champions upon the completion of this inbounds pass. But all they can do is watch right now as this review is basically all for naught. I mean, but at the same time, you do have to credit Michigan State. I mean, they came in here and they did what they needed to do. They had guys step up. They had Matt McQuaid step up. Cassius Winston did his thing. They didn't play Nick Ward when they realized how ineffective it was, and they responded well after the Kyle Ahrens injury. And Michigan State came to Chicago and took care of business at the same time. Shouldn't have had to come down to a final call like that for Michigan in all likelihood. You know, they had looked good for most of the second half, most of the first half, and had chances that they squandered. But nonetheless, it's going to be tough for this team to swallow a loss like that.
Yeah, and also a 10-0 run by Michigan State to close out this game now. Here, that's it's tough. They had opportunities when they needed someone to step up, make a basket here at the end of the game. That's been a role many expected Jordan Poole to fill this season for Michigan, much like Nick Stauskas or Derek Walton did in years past. And so far, he hasn't really been up for the challenge here.
Michigan State won the rebounding battle 38-29 today. They inbound the ball. That's game. Matt McQuaid, 27 points, 7 of 13 from downtown. Cassius Winston, 14 points and 11 assists. Ignas Brazdegas finished with 19 points. Didn't get much going down the stretch. John Teskey finished with 10 and 10. Xavier Simpson, 6 points and 10 assists. Jordan Poole was 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on 3 of 11 shooting. And the confetti falls for Michigan State as the two teams shake hands. Be interesting to see where these teams fall in the bracket, but no doubt great seasons by each team. But if you're Michigan, it just hurts to lose to Michigan State 3 times.
Yeah, and or at least these last 2 times, they had the lead at the half. They had an opportunity to win. And they should have won. They just couldn't close out the game.
So each team will await their seed on Selection Sunday here within a little bit, really, as that should wrap up our coverage from Chicago, Illinois for the Big Ten tournament. We appreciate the opportunity to come here and cover this great tournament, and we appreciate your support in tuning into our coverage as well. Look forward to potentially getting out to some of the NCAA tournament sites, spring sports as well, softball, baseball, etc. Nate, it's been a good call with you. I know it's painful for you, but we move on to March Madness. With that said, Daniel Thompson, Nick Hornberg, phenomenal job in the first half. Nate Sorensen as well, good job. My name is Lucas Vargas. We head to Selection Sunday. Thank you, good night, and go Blue.